You okay to get started?
Yeah, I'm good to go.
All right, cool. So you're in Adele. Surprise, surprise. Some of those.
Yeah.
There's a few of those out there.
Just a couple.
Mm-hmm. You liking it?
Yeah, honestly, I do enjoy it. I like the mix of damage and like movement and stuff. It doesn't feel not overly stale or anything. So I'm enjoying it.
And mossing and bobbing, both enjoyable.
Yeah, I just started bossing. I've been just kind of grinding away the last little bit. I was really fixated on getting that last symbol before really trying to learn all the bosses so I could progress as on a day-to-day basis.
Oh, so you're 235 now?
No, I gave up yesterday because I was getting mad lag and it wasn't working.
Oh yeah. Game had been a bit laggy the last few days. Definitely noticed that.
Yeah, it's like I wasn't sure if the mobs were dying or not. And it was just a terrible way to spend an emblem. But sorry,
Totem, yeah. And if you keep attacking and then they die later and you stock up too many inputs, then you get like DC for NGS hack reason or whatever.
Yeah, that's exactly what
it
was.
It's not a good thing. And were you like in a Prime channel? Are you familiar with that?
Yeah, a friend of mine sent me like a list of them, and I was on channel like 6, I think. So I think it's a good one. It's
supposed to be a good one, yeah.
I guess.
Yeah, I mean, I have a list here as well in front of me, so I have it underlined as that it's supposed to be one. So
yeah.
Is he from Ontario? People have been lagging in Ontario. I mean, I was lagging as well in EU, so.
I am from Ontario though. If that's a thing.
I don't know. Maybe that Canada. I heard Canada internet is like trying to rival Australia internet for like shitty connection in the last few years.
Yeah.
Apparently,
it's trash.
Not been great. Yeah, that's unfortunate. Because, okay, to completely sidetrack, from what I hear, living costs and stuff in Canada is pretty fucking crazy.
Like high?
Yeah, like super high.
Yeah, it's pretty fucking high. Yeah.
But then then at least your base utilities like internet should be decent, no?
Still like.
You think
over
that?
$100.
What?
Still like over like $100 a month.
Just for internet?
Yeah.
Wait, Canadian dollars. Well, that's like monopoly money, right? So that's like.
It is monopoly money.
That's
sure.
like 85 USD, so that's like 75 euros or something.
Something like that.
Alex
but it's over, yeah. I don't know.
Yeah.
Depends.
Yeah, I pay like 55 euros, so it's not like totally out there, but I guess it's definitely on the high side for sure. Yeah. I mean, I guess if your income is also high, then it kind of compensates, but.
Yeah, everything's kind of expensive here for no reason now.
Nice. Well, I guess because a lot of people want it and there's not that much of it. That's usually how it goes, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so are you close-ish to 235, getting that last symbol? And you've got some of those circulators saved up?
I'll get it today.
Okay. Yeah. That's really close then, yeah.
Yeah.
You excited to have those done?
Yeah, I'm not excited to do an extra daily, but I'm pretty like addicted to like progressing for no reason. Like I think that's one of the things I enjoy the most about this game, because like I've only been playing for like 2 months and a couple days, and it's just like I've just been like working steadily at it. Like I'll get my superior set in like 3 days, I think. I'm really looking forward to that, and those are like my little goals that I look forward to.
Yeah, because I was kind of like looking through your account, because this was not a terror burn, right?
No, this was not. I wish it was, but I started when there wasn't anything.
So are you terror burning something else now?
Yeah, I'm terror burning in Arc right now. I stopped so I could get the 235. It's at like 160 or something, so I'll get back on it soon. I took a little bit of delay to get my Lara to at least like 70 or something, so I can use her link skill.
Use link skill. Yeah, exactly. And I think you're still in the build-up phases when it comes to the Legion, so it's all about like, whatever you feel like playing at this point. But I'm guessing once you hit 235 and there's quite a lot of dailies to do at that point, you'll I'm guessing you're going to see a little bit more time to work on Legion instead to make gains that way.
Yeah, that's actually my plan was 235 and then do my dailies quick, do my 7-day monster park runs, and then Urus, and then switch to Legion. However long I have for the day, just do that.
Yeah, because what's your schedule like? Do you just have like an hour, maybe a few hours, or a couple hours a day, and then a little bit more on weekends, something like that?
Yeah, kind of like that. And then my thing's like it's gotten the daylight savings kind of fucked me a little bit. By the time I get home, it's like I only have like 2 hours till reset, so I have to either get them done the night before. Or...
Right. And wait, how late? Do you have to like stay up late for that then, or is it just like a little bit unfortunate?
Early.
Oh, or yeah.
Because I get home from work at like 5:30, and then the reset's at 7. So.
Yeah. So ideally, you want to do at least like half of them right after reset, so you can.
Yeah, that's what I've been trying.
Gotcha. Yeah, because that's the thing. You know, when you add a region, you have to do more dailies. Like you get way more symbols for the amount of time you spend doing dailies, like for the average, but you still do more than you did before. Like even if you skip, you get to skip one for a bunch of areas, you still end up doing more. So that's kind of how they get you.
Down to 1 Arcana a day.
Yeah, one Arcana, yeah, on both. Yeah. So like 1 kill quest and just 1 10k run, and then auto complete the last 2.
Perfect.
Yeah, that speeds that up quite a bit. Yeah, just whenever you can get down to 1 kill quest for an area, that's such free symbols. You know, once you get down to you get up to Lucaline and you could just do 1 Urda Spectrum for 6 symbols. That's when the value starts kicking in. Like having to do 3 Urda Spectrums for 6 symbols total is like, ugh.
Yeah, it doesn't feel good.
No, it doesn't feel good. But luckily, like 220 is pretty fast, right?
Yeah, for sure.
And you'll notice that as well with your Terra Burn. If you do the Terra Burn pretty quickly, you know all of the rewards that you can get is a huge boost to like a new Terra Burn. 220 is really fast, and then you're already skipping that. You're basically only like for 1 or 2 days you're going to be doing some people not even a whole day, right? They'll just like unlock Vanishing Journey and just go the whole way through, auto-complete later once they hit 220, just to get all the dailies done faster that day, depending on how crazy they go. And I guess connected to your to your schedule and to how crazy you can go. What's your totem situation? Do you generally not use all of them? Do you try to use all of them? Can you afford all of them? You know, that kind of stuff.
I think last month I used 8. I just have to be a little bit better with the Maple M. It just takes so long that it holds up my phone for so long that I just forget to most days.
Right. I usually run it back when I ran it on my computer, like on a simulator, on an emulator.
Oh, maybe I should just do that.
I just run in the background, and you can always just Alt tab and just check, and then your phone doesn't have to be occupied with that.
Yeah, because it takes a little bit of time for all those things too.
Yeah, it's like running AFK, but you still have to check, right? So if it was for me, it was fun, it was easy to be on the same device. So I tried Nox as an emulator. That one didn't work quite well for me, and then I tried BlueStacks, and that one worked perfectly. But it'll depend on your, it'll depend on your experience, which one works. Yeah, I found that a lot easier to just have it running on the same device, so you can just check. I mean, I have 2 monitors as well, so that made it even easier. You just check on the other monitor if it's going or not.
Exactly, same. I'll do that then, because I could only afford 8 last month. I used them all, but.
Right, yeah. Because it kind of sucks if you kind of want to do more, but you're limited in that regard, right? Yeah. And so, and the other ways of getting reward points, like the bossing and the monster collection, how's that? Because you're growing pains when you're only playing for 2 months, of course. But do you feel like you're making some progress with that?
Yeah. It just depends how much free time I have. I'll run through all the normal bosses for the extra Maple points, but then I make sure to do all my weeklies.
Yep.
I haven't been able to this week was the first week I soloed the majority of it. But,
can you elaborate a little bit, like which bosses?
Like CRA, H Hilla, CZAC, CPB. I haven't tried HMAG because that one just always gets me, and it just frustrates me. So I haven't tried doing it solo yet.
Right. Yeah. So that boss is to zoom in on that a little bit. So the boss is definitely frustrating. So the main strategy is to definitely always stay in the middle, right? That one's very important because the side has that poison mushroom cloud, whatever. That poison cloud that stuns you forever, which is just terribly annoying. So always try to stay in the middle, which means you always. So you want to stay as far away from him as possible, within the blue, if possible, and then on the side of the middle, right? So if he's slightly to the left, you move to his right side, but try to stay just in the edge of the blue, and and inversely if he's on the other side, basically. So if he dashes to your side, you just hop to his other side to maintain distance, and that way you open up. The biggest side of the map will be on your side, where you can go to dodge things. One thing is like learning to time your up jump can be very useful, but also is a little bit dangerous, right? Because stuff can fall from the ceiling. But up jumping over the blue swipe is definitely possible. Like if you get too close and he does the blue swipe, that's a dangerous one, right? It knocks you like way across the map. Especially if you jump, you're just you just get careened through the map. So there's a few ways to go about that. Like either guard can block that, right? The first hit, immune. Although you typically want to keep that for super dangerous situations when balls are about to hit you that come out of nowhere, lightning speed. The other thing you can use is plummet. That makes you knock down immune. So if you do get hit by the blue but you plummet in time, that won't send you falling back. You'll just fall down.
Oh, okay. I don't think I even like have plummet set up to be.
Yeah, and that's the thing. Like in the beginning, Adele is like kind of brain dead. She's just hopping around cleaving, and that's totally fine. But once it comes down to bossing, do you have like the Impale Resonance Rush combo set up as well?
What do you?
Because I didn't. So Impale is like you throw out one of those blue crystals, right?
Yeah.
And then Resonance Rush dashes 2 crystals. So you can use that as a combo to basically give yourself mobility anywhere in the map. You can impale upwards and then dash to it and then plummet down from there. And then you're basically doing like a 1-2-3 combo. But you end up in the same spot as where you started. So that's also something that people will use sometimes in Magnus. Like if he does the blue swipe, you can impale up, dash to it, and then plummet back down on him, and he's just like sitting there spinning like an idiot. But you fall back down really quickly, so you're not in the air too long. But you also build a stack at the same time, right? Because keeping up your passive stacks is something that's very difficult in the beginning, because you know you're trying to engage with the boss. But at the same time, it's very important because it does build up to 10% IED and final damage, which will make the boss fight substantially faster.
Yeah, I've been trying to like get better with that, because I even I was looking towards the future too, like to see if the guild would do like lucid carries and stuff, and I was trying to learn some of the mechanics. Like the one was like what's it called?
For dragon to stay up in the air.
Like, it's like impale, and then it's like double jump, resonant rush, impale, resonant rush. So it's trying to like
with like a float in between.
Yeah.
And then maybe falling into either guard if you fall too early, so you can still tick like one stack of the breath. Yeah.
And then I put it on the macro too as well, like people were saying, because I heard it was faster, like slightly faster.
Okay, yeah, I didn't even do that. Okay, so I learned something new as well. Yeah, because I have my Adele kind of as a side character. It's one of those characters that wasn't really fun for me, because it was, but like what you said, like it wasn't brain dead. For me, it was a little bit too brain dead in the beginning. But you know, you get to it helps you get to the point where the game is much more interesting, much faster, and where it gets more challenging. So I didn't really oppose it too much, because you know it is my whatever, like 40 plus of character. So you know, by the time I get to that character, it's like, okay, can I get to some fun stuff that I haven't done in a while on too many characters, and then that lends itself to that very well. I guess the other stuff with HMAG is just, the main thing is to not to try to not get tilted. Just know that you're going to get slapped by some silly stuff, and know that you're going to die. But as long as you die in the middle of the map, that's fine, right? Because then he just keeps dashing around the middle, and he stays in position. Try to not die in a corner. If you die in a corner, try to res immediately and go back to the middle of the map. Just so that Magnus himself doesn't go out of position. Because if he's stuck in the map, you forced fighting in the map, and then you're in the green mist, and then death, right? So try to, you know, if you die in the corner, try to res and go into the middle of the map. If you're dead in the middle of the map, just stay dead as long as you can, because you want your cooldowns to come back, right? You want to be able to bind him, use all of your big burst skills, you know, Infinity Blade, Ruin, pop all of your other blades, right? Try to get that Noble Summons and Bloom in. Like that's a lot of your damage. So the more time you spend dead in the middle of the map, it's fine. You know, you get more time to get all your cooldowns back, get your bind back, and be able to burst faster. The worst thing you can do, which will happen if you tilt and if you'll let the game do it, is that you keep like rage respawning, and that'll just lead to him bleeding you out of your lives. You have more than enough lives, and especially at, you know, I'm pretty sure you're strong enough to kill it. It all just comes down to when you res, and then before you res, just looking at your cooldowns and seeing like, okay, can I pop all my skills? Am I just gonna hop around a little bit, focus on survivability for like 10 to 15 seconds, and then like, you know, pop one of your skills. You remember, if you pop Infinity Blade, that startup is an iframe, so you can also use that. Like, you're close to him and he does the blue thing, you pop Infinity Blade, immune the knockback, then bind him, pop a ruin, and then just start with all the other skills, right? And then you still have the green shield as well if you need it for stuff that falls. You've got either guard, right? If you do need to, like, if you don't want to have to move out of the way and you want to stand there and do damage. And the important thing is to just try to keep him in the middle of the map and just try to bide your time with your lives, and then you should be fine, because it's basically just a war of attrition. Like, if you keep rezzing and he keeps slapping you around, you're gonna run out of lives. If you stay dead, wait for your cooldowns to come back, you're gonna have like 3 or 4 big bursts in, and that will definitely get him down.
Yeah, I feel like that's even just the middle of the map thing might be something that will help a lot, because I found myself always getting like stuck in like one of the corners.
Yeah.
And then that was kind of like that. It was almost like Zigzag, where it was like die, respawn, die, respawn, die, and it's just like,
yeah, and if
it happens like once or twice, and then I'm frustrated, and then like it's not really.
yeah, for sure. And if he dashes, like, if he gets into a really small blue area and he dashes like close to the side, don't go chasing him, you know, just stay in the middle of the map and focus on dodging the balls. You can take a decent amount of hits before you die, and there's a good chance he dashes back into you before you're even close to dying. And then, you know, wait a little bit until you're into the blue, then heal, right? Don't heal too quickly, because sometimes it doesn't register. You probably already noticed that. Like, I was in the blue and I healed and it didn't get HP. Like, that happens all the time, right? Yeah, that's just part of that boss fight. So you need to wait a little bit. Wait until he like hits you with the touch damage for dashing into you. Wait, like, count like 1 Mississippi, I guess, and then boom. Or like 1, I don't know, what do you get? What kind of river do you get? Do you have rivers? You have a lot of lakes, but do you have rivers? I don't know about rivers.
You get the Grand River.
The Grand River, yeah. You just call it 1 Grand River, 2 Grand River, right? And just count 1, and then pop that full healing. And then if you have to, you can jump out of the blue if there's a bunch of balls, right? And then just focus on that survivability until all of the cooldowns are back. And that's generally my advice as well for bosses that are too difficult. Honestly, if the one thing you can do on a boss is just to run out the timer, then that's a really, really good solid foundation to be able to kill the boss. Like, obviously not for HMAG, running out the timer. Well, maybe in the, you know, if you don't hit him at all with a blue area, with a big blue area, you can probably run out the timer. But that's a good way of, you know, just not just as a limit test, but you get to observe a lot. You get to observe a lot of situations on like what is possible. What do I have to be able to dodge? When should I use my iframe? When is it really, really dangerous? When can I actually just hop around and reposition and I will be fine, right? And you'll learn so much from just running out the clock and looking at the boss mechanics. And then the next step is like, okay, how do I weave damage in? And then usually you overextend because you feel overconfident about survivability because you just were able to run out the clock, and then you get absolutely smacked and you're like, okay, now I took too much risk. And then you try to find a middle ground between the two. That's typically how CVAL goes as well, but I assume that you got carries from your guild, right, for Absolab stuff. So you are kind of overtuned for CVAL, so you probably didn't have the same amount of struggle there. Even though it's not like a super simple boss, but you probably got the hang of it pretty quickly because you are quite overtuned for that content at this point.
Yeah, exactly.
But,
and then it's like I had done it enough times even just on like normal on like other characters and stuff where I kind of like picked up like the dodging, or like each mag I don't do it on all the meals or whatever.
Yeah, and his H-Mag becomes... Because even on a mule, like, normal Magnus is pretty damn tough. Like, I don't even know if half of my characters that can, like, solo CRA, if I would just send them into normal Magnus, just without any kind of prep, I probably wouldn't feel super comfortable, even though, you know, if I really get down to it and do, like, the prep, they probably might be able to H-Mag, maybe. Some of them, at least. Definitely not all of them, but some of them. But I don't know if I would just run into N-Mag, because, yeah, it's a tricky boss. It's not a pushover for sure. I mean, yeah, hopefully that helps you a little bit with HMAG on how to tackle that boss. Is there and after HMAG, did you do any other bosses?
No, I think I haven't tried.
That was like the cutoff, basically. HMAG is like the hardest one. That was like the next one you're working up to for solo.
Yeah. And
okay.
then I think in the next couple of weeks, or like maybe after the DMT, I have a friend that's like close to the same. Like, he's like 238, like Iado with like a little bit more stat, and then we're gonna try starting to do a Lomian probably,
Mm-hmm.
like just normal. See, but try to get our foot in the door for that.
Yeah.
And then a friend in the guild was trying to explain to me like Lucid. It's like unless I'm getting carried, I need to have like 25k stat or something for normal. I think he was saying.
Yeah, 25 is like a little bit. That's like the number if you want to make sure that you 100% clear. Basically, if everyone has that, you can probably do it with 20k with like a bunch of 20k people, especially now with the reboot passive change. If everyone knows like the mechanics, knows what they're doing, and is also like willing to fail, is still in the learning curve, like 20k is probably fine. 25 is more. You see those megas when someone is like looking for 5 normal lucid parties, 25k plus. That's usually like an 8k kana who's just trying to get carried.
Yeah.
So it depends on how hard of a run you're trying to get. If you're trying to get a sure thing, or if you're still if you're okay to just learn mechanics, and it's basically just a practice run, and clearing is not a guarantee, basically.
Is there any other way would practicing the easy like maybe help with the mechanics before I actually get into it, or?
Yeah, easy is definitely more forgiving in the sense that a bunch of things that hit you won't kill you as quickly. So you might get a little bit of a false sense of security, like, oh, I can just tank this, I can just tank this. So the goal should be for easy, again, just like with the other stuff, the goal should be to learn to like dodge things and to see things coming. And just basically see all things as things that would kill you in normal. And just focus on dodging them rather than just, oh, I can just tank this and tank this, because then you're not going to learn much from it from the next difficulty. That's an important part of it.
Okay.
But it'll help you with the timings and what the attacks look like and what you need to look out for. Look at the mentions for the lucid, like the dragon breath. Look at the indicators, because she always plays on her pan flute, and there's like a green kind of smoke that comes out of it. As soon as you see that, you know there's going to be a dragon. The actual notice for the dragon is only like a second or a second and a half after that. So as soon as you see her play that pan flute, you know the dragon is coming. So you immediately want to look at the exit doors, right? Look at the left and look at the right, and see if there's anything being blocked by golems, and start hacking on the golems instead of hacking on the boss itself. Or in your case, think about your combo. Okay, what is the combo going to be? What can I do? Is there no golem beneath me, right? Because that can still hit you. Have an impale above you. Because I know what some people do is they'll always throw up an impale above them and then wait for it to come off cooldown, and then I'll go like up dash, impale again, up dash while still in the air, then float. And then you can never get hit by the dragon, basically, if you time it properly. But the best thing is to see the dragon, so you can see when the breath starts up, and then get out of it. Otherwise, you have to like know the timing, or someone has to like be in the corner and count down like breath in 3, 2, 1, something like that. Otherwise, you can still like get hit on the way up, or if you go to early, get hit on the way down. But on the way down is safer, right? Because then you can still either guard it, maybe you can still immune like a hit, and it's a hard combo. It's harder if you can see the dragon. It's pretty doable. Like, because with Demon Avenger I had the same thing. You can just up jump and float, and if you start it at the right time, that's just enough. Just up jump and then hold the glide, and then you'll just you will fall so slowly that the dragon breath will be gone. But if you just jump just a little bit too early, you land in it, and if you jump a little bit too late, then you die to that. So it all comes down to like seeing the dragon, because it's very hard to time. Could you use Blink now? Yes, you could also use Blink. I don't know if you've heard about that strategy.
I have.
You have not?
No.
Because so Blink is the common 5th job skill, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you use it on the ground, it's like a random teleport, but you can also use it to float. And float upwards as well. So what some people will do is just up jump and then press like at the highest point, press Blink, and then even just press upward, and you'll slowly float upwards, and you'll stay in the air for super long. If for some reason you still fall, or you're still threatening to fall, then you can still hover as Adele, and then that's so much airtime, you'll never be able to get hit. 3.1 seconds at level 1, and the dragon breath itself is only 3 seconds. So that could be like a if all else fails, right? Ideally, you don't want to be using that as a slot yet. But if the survivability is the main problem, and you're getting, if you're getting carried or something, and your damage is pretty insignificant anyway, then survivability is more important.
so maybe I'll try that because I would hate to like hit what you're saying, like 20k stat, and then like try to join a party and then like no, none of the mechanics, you know.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
just-
yeah. You could always, and that's something I advise people to do as well. A lot of people are like scared. They're both scared to fail at a boss, but they also don't want to join a boss and die out. It's like you can only have one of those. Like you're gonna have to like get over that and just go into a boss and have to be okay with getting absolutely blasted and dying to everything, because that's what happened to literally everyone ever since the history of this game, right? Everyone who went into a boss fight like the first time got absolutely destroyed. You can look at all the guides, you can learn all the mechanics from someone, you can have someone like me like tell you what the mechanics are and give you more insight. But unless you go in there and you realize like, that's what they were talking about, like that's where I died, that's where I could have done the thing. Right? Unless you get destroyed by every mechanic like 2 or 3 different times, that's when you learn how you have to engage with them and how you have to dodge, right? Because I watched God knows how many Black Mage videos before I went in, but I still like died to everything a few times. But you'll be able to take that information faster and be like, oh, I need to do this, I need to do this. You'll learn faster from it, but you're not going to avoid anything. So it's the sooner you go in and the sooner you just try to dodge and you try to stuff, the faster you'll learn. And the good thing is now, because of the practice mode, you can just go in with one buff freezer and it won't get consumed, right? So you can just, as long as you have one buff freezer, you can run out all 10 lives and just try a bunch of things and see what works.
Yeah, I didn't know that.
Yeah. So I would, yeah, definitely. If you have some time in a day, right, and you don't have any totems anyway, might as well just try that to feel more prepared for when the actual thing goes down.
Perfect. Yeah. I
Solo
think
pro-
I definitely need to do some more Legion before I start doing like the late game bosses and though.
Mm-hmm.
'Cause I feel pretty weak. I feel like my damage hasn't gone up in a really long time. To like even just in mobs and stuff.
Mm-hmm. You're a little bit further from the mic, by the way. You're a little bit quiet.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah, that's better.
The mobs, it just feels like my damage hasn't gone up in a hot minute.
Mm-hmm.
The bosses it has, and I'm sure it'll go up more once I get my superior set in a couple days. But
Have you been moving into higher level areas as well when you're training?
yeah, just I was trying to train in Arcana now.
Mm-hmm.
I was doing the Earth Warriors for, the Earth Spirits for quite a while.
Mm-hmm.
But then I was told to like move to the side path for more mesos and stuff because I was struggling to get my mesos gear. Like I just got it at the cubing sale.
Yeah, I saw that you had at least the meso obtained and you're working on the drop rate now.
Yeah, I don't know how to get the last little bit of drop rate because I have some in my hyperstat in my legendary ability.
Mm-hmm.
I have 19%, but my friend was trying to tell me that it'd probably be better if I had mesos there just to fund myself a little more. So I'd have to get a little more item drop rate.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. That's probably a good idea. And like, yeah, because so the main reason I think that you're just not doing more damage to mobs is because the mobs you're attacking are more powerful and you're not getting the arcane power bonus, right? Like not as much. And the other thing is that your boost nodes still need to level up as well. There's still room for growth there. They're at a good point though, don't get me wrong. But they'll still grow as well, and that'll basically carry your damage. Because like at this point, most of your damage is coming from, or should be coming from your WSE, right? Weapon Secondary Emblem, from your boost nodes, from your symbols, and then because that's the stuff that gives you the final damage, right? Boost node symbols, and then the weapon attack is like considerably high, and then enough arcane power. That's where all of your damage comes from, and then that's like supplemented by stuff like your CRA and your Absolab stuff, and all the accessories are basically there for the utility. They're all there for the meso obtain and for the drop rate. That's their main purpose at this point, which means that for bossing, it's typically normal that you're doing trioing, 4-manning bosses because everyone's kind of in that same situation. Some people will be hardcore meso farming on a character, and then they basically just roll everything that you're rolling for meso obtain and drop rate. They'll roll for stat on there as well. So they'll be significantly stronger, but then, they have to fund the other character with drop and meso stuff first. So at this point of the game, they would typically be behind a little bit. And then, once you get into 250 and 260 area, then they'll get ahead, provided that they put enough hours into the game, of course, and overpower the amount of totems and all of that stuff. And have big enough legion to be able to afford the coupons, etc.
Yes.
But there's definitely things that we can look at and like prioritize for the short term and the midterm and the long term. So what kind of goals did you have set for your account? Like in short term, you want to be able to kill HMAG and then Have you tried CPAP and Akechi at all?
I haven't soloed CPAP, and I have not tried Akachi actually
Mm-hmm.
at all. I don't even know if I've done the quest for it, to be completely honest.
Then you probably haven't, because you would you would
So,
remember.
yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, no,
It's
I don't
it's
think
quite a lot, yeah.
I have it.
The good thing is that
Yeah,
it's shared with an account though, so if you do it on one character, then any other character that comes after, you can do it immediately.
Oh, okay. Yeah, then I'll see if I have time today to get it done then.
Well, it's quite long. You have to take some time for it. Well, the thing is, like,
Load
it's
it
a lot
long?
of no, not quite that long, but it's a lot of dialogue. So you could NPC chat through a lot of it, but it still takes a bit. Yeah, in the end of the day, it's worth it. Like CPAP and Akechi together now, I think is like 150 mil in crystal every week, so that's pretty good. And then the crystal change is coming, so it'd be cool if by then you'll be able to kill the bosses. Because I think you're at the stage of the game where you could, and then because that value for those bosses specifically is going to go up, because a lot of people kind of don't do those bosses or skip them a little bit because they think they're very annoying, which they are. But if you're able to do them and their value keeps going up weekly, you could be looking at like up to 300 mil a week in crystal value just from those two, which is quite substantial income, I think.
Yeah, I could definitely use it to
Mm-hmm.
save up.
Yeah, and you'll get better and better at it, making the bosses faster and faster as well. Yeah, Akechi is basically just annoying. It's basically a matter of kiting. Just, stay far enough away within range of your attack, but like out of his range for his attack. His attack is pretty short range, but it like launches you up in the air, which is very annoying. Then he just keeps juggling you. And it builds a stack every time, and if you reach 20 stacks, it basically just like full map AoE, or like an AoE one shot, which you can avoid with either guard, but like it's very annoying and like you get slowed and everything. So for phase 1 is basically just kite him, don't stay too far and don't stay too close. Basically just like the distance of your cleave, and just like jump back cleave, kind of like that, and you should be fine. And then for the phase 2 is a bit more annoying. He does more dangerous skills. It's basically whenever you see like a blue image of him, immediately go to the other side of him, like immediately get out of that, not backwards away from him, but forwards towards him and just behind him. That's where the safe spot is. So if you ever see like a blue image, either it's like a dive and he's going to slow you, which is just a little bit annoying, or it's like a AoE that hits you like 8 times and just like absolutely demolishes you. So just whenever you see that, jump to the other side of him, or impale resonance rush through him. Then way you build a stack and you get behind him, and you get to practice doing that quickly as well. That's usually a good thing to use. And and whenever you can, just bind and burst him. The thing is, if you get like too far away from him, he does DR sometimes, which is not a hard DR. Like you can still hit him and not die to him, but it's just annoying because it slows down the run. And if you bind him and don't kill him in the bind, he will knock out of the bind, knock you back, and bind you, and go into DR as well at the same time. So like binding and bursting could be a good tool if you have a lot of damage, or at the end to finish him off. It's pretty annoying if you use it too early.
Yeah, I tend to do it a lot more closer to the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Maybe I should be using it a little bit earlier, so maybe I could use it twice in boss fights.
Yeah, you have pretty short cooldowns. You're on a 2-minute rotation with a lot of your stuff. Your bind is 2 minutes as well, I think, right? Or is it 3 minutes?
3 minutes.
3 minutes, yeah.
180.
Most binds are 3 minutes. Yeah, you're right. Yeah. Considering, because a lot of times I will do weeklies and just sit on my skills as well. Like I want to be able to use it whenever I can, so I'm not going to use it now because it's not necessary. And then I think like, okay, now I want to use it. This is like 6 minutes after the last one. I should just use the last one. Everything would have been back already. So sometimes, and that's kind of the problem of when you're too strong, or when you are stronger than you think you are. That you think you need it a lot. But if you don't need a lot, it's better to just use it a lot, because then you'll actually just progress faster. That's kind of like the contradiction, I guess.
It's like that's the one thing that got me with doing CRA was when I was killing the clown. It's like I kept missing the bind spot by like a little bit, and it kept splitting on me, and it was so annoying. But the second like I figured out where I needed it for my damage to like actually kill it, it was so easy.
Then it's just peanuts. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah, it's like just a little bit past the point where the HP and the amount of lives, or like the timer and the lives like touch each other, right?
Mm-hmm.
like the HP bar above it. Like if this is the amount, this is the timer bar, and this is the amount of lives you have. Kind of looks like this, and the HP bar is just above it. I think it splits like, because this is zoomed in a little bit. Like when you get past like this point or something, that's when it splits. So you can go like a little bit past it, but typically that's the point where you kind of like stop. And then if you hit it accidentally, then it goes a little bit to the left and it's okay. But like the part where those two bars, those two, items, I guess, like touch each other, that's like the part where you want to stop. And then just be other color bind, and then, you just destroy him, basically. At this point, probably only ruin and like cleaving will probably be enough to kill him.
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, but I mean, you pop Infinity Spell just to be sure.
Yeah, he had to die.
Don't risk it.
No.
Risking a split is some high risk business. Okay, yeah, but and CPAP is definitely a learning curve. It feels like you can net stand anywhere and everything kills you one shot every time when you go in. That's definitely like a frustrating one. That's why specifically for that one I have a video on like how to do it. I basically go through one of my runs and kind of like pause at certain times, like why do I stand here? What am I thinking in this moment? Why am I moving here? Kind of like a breakdown that way. And it's from the perspective of my Adele as well. So that'll be helpful. And it's also recently updated because they changed like where the platforms were, right? Because the old one had like, I think this platform was like higher up or something. I don't know exactly, but the platforms were a little bit different, which meant that you could stand in different spots and block the laser differently. So this is from, what is this from? August 2020, yeah. Yeah, but that was 215 here, so, but I already had a lot of experience from doing it on other characters, right? So I was kind of like limit testing, seeing if I could do it.
Hello. The purpose of this... Yeah, I've been clearing it weekly as well. My one friend's just trying to help me.
Yeah, that's the benefit of this one as well, because it's solo, it also makes it a longer run, so you can see all of the mechanics. And I think I also fail... I think I failed the healing at one point as well. That heals him a bunch. Or do I not? Oh no, I don't. But yeah, like I talked through the whole mechanics and like where do you stand, what skills do you use. Either guard is a little bit different here, but I don't think I use it as the old either guard, right? Because you know about like the dodging stuff.
Yeah, I was using it for
wow, that was bad.
Over my head.
Yeah, because like it turned into an iframe before, right? Instead of just being a damage reduction past the initial hit. Because it changed a little bit, right? Now it's immune on the first hit versus and then damage reduction versus damage reduction unless you time it properly, and then it becomes an iframe for like up to 3 seconds.
Okay.
Wait, did you play before that?
No, I literally just started 2 months ago, so.
Oh, when did it change? I feel like it was less than 2 months ago when I changed. Maybe it's been 2 months already. You know, getting old, time flows in a different way for me. Okay.
Yeah. I played MapleStory like way back in the day, but like.
Yeah, but then Adele's weren't a thing yet, so.
Yeah, and then I thought the game like completely died, and I was talking to some friends, and I was just like, I need some relaxing game that's not gonna tilt me like League of Legends or Apex or Warzone and stuff. And I was like, man, I wish I could just play MapleStory because it was such a vibe when I used to play. They're like, I'm pretty sure it's still going. And I was like, there's no way. So I checked it out, saw there was Reboot, and I'm like, oh, this is perfect.
Yeah, Reboot my playing career, Reboot the name, perfect combo.
Yeah.
And then you find that people are actually still playing somehow. It's like, oh, there's still a game here.
Yeah, let's do it.
Yeah, it'll never die, dude. It's like weeds. You can never get rid of it.
Yeah, well, I like it because I could spend time in calls with like my friends, and it doesn't the game's not so intense like mobbing and stuff. Where I can't have a full-on conversation while playing. It's like
yeah, a lot of them. Well, it kind of depends on what class you're playing, but like for most, especially for Adele, yeah, it definitely leaves a lot of room for just being able to do other stuff at the same time. A lot of people half AFK. Farming their kanas when they're like binging animes and Netflix and shit and just make a bunch of money at the same time.
Yeah, for sure.
That definitely happens.
1000%.
Yeah. So yeah, CPAP will Yeah, and then you can start working on maybe getting a pet mark, right? And then, you know, it's always cool to be able to do it solo as well, not just for like the crystal value and that kind of stuff, but I think just for the flexibility of being able to do it when you can and not being dependent on someone else needing to be there, right?
Yeah, for sure. That's what I've been liking so far about my weeklies. It's like I don't have to like join the queue with like everyone in the guild or anything. I can just go run them whenever I need.
Yep.
Take as long as I need, you know, because obviously I'm not killing Zizak as fast as like some of my like 2-7.
Yeah, they'll just pop one skill, gone.
Yeah.
Oh, so big thing for CZAC, and I don't know, again, like this is something that you might not learn because you're, you know, if you're with someone who's like super strong. So basically, if you kill all the arms, he goes into that phase 2, right, where like some arms respawn and then there's like platforms and whatever. And they'll probably happen as an Adele if you're like standing in the middle, you pop a Ruin, you pop an Infinity Blade, and then all of it kind of gets killed. What you can do is, so usually what I do is I stand on the left, wait for Zuckum to spawn, pop a Ruin, jump into the middle, and then put a, it's called Rain of Destruction, right, onto the left side where also the Ruin is, and then just cleave that side. And if you kill all the arms on one side, but leave the arms on the other side up, then basically he stays in phase 1. But because there's no arms on one side anymore, that whole side is just safe to stand. So you can just stand in the middle, a little bit to the left, if all the arms on the left are gone, and just cleave him from there. And then basically he'll try to go into the phase 2 and destroy his arms on the right side and try to go into like the phase 2 thing, but he won't do the weapon defense thing, right, where you just can't hit him for a while and then you have to stay full health, and then the summons summon sometimes and sometimes hit you, and sometimes they don't, and then sometimes it's like a 99% full screen crack that one-shots you if you're not exactly full HP, which is pretty annoying. He'll never really get to that phase. He'll try to move into phase 2 like right at the end, but if you keep cleaving and keep doing damage to him, he'll be super low, and you basically just have to hit him like 5 or 6 more times in that phase where he doesn't go into phase 2, he goes into the phase 3, right, where he like teleports around and there's that green shield thing.
I feel like that's a game changer on its own right there, because I've just been killing all the arms lately. I've only done it in like 2 weeks or something, so.
Yeah, so usually I just do it on the left, like put a Rain of Destruction there. As soon as you see the Rain of Destruction hitting the arms, then you can pop the Ruin as well. You could do it the other way around if that's easier. Just make sure you pop the Ruin quite to the side so it doesn't hit all the arms on the other side. And then if you can kill the arms, then you can stand on that side safely. If something does try to land on you, you still have either guard to, like, you know, immune you at least for that hit, because the hits are super delayed, right? Like it's very hard to dodge them, at least for me always. Like I see the hand icon, I jump out of the way, it comes down, I still die. That's like,
sometimes it's super laggy.
Yeah.
I tried to do it last week like that. It was like not happening.
Yeah, so just try to get rid of one side of the arms, and then, you know, you basically have free reign over that side, and you can just attack. So I usually attack from the middle outward, so that you can make sure that because your cleave hits like a little bit behind you, but mainly in front of you, right? So if you stand away from him and you attack inward, you have a bigger chance of actually hitting the arms on the other side. You just don't want to kill them. That makes the boss way easier.
Yeah, I'm already looking forward to doing it next week. I want to try it now, because that sounds...
Well, you could go in now in practice mode, right, and see how it works.
Sure.
Yeah, try it a few times until you get it down, and then for next week you'll be able to just burst it immediately. Because what I usually do is, like, I'm gonna do my weekly bosses. I usually take a few bufferings just in case some weird shit happens, because that, you know, weird shit always happens if you do enough bosses, and then get like a half-hour double drop coupon. If you have enough Legion coins, right? Like that's of course a possibility. And then I do all the bosses in a row, and then at that point I know all the bosses, I know what I'm doing, I know the sequence. You can teleport to all of them through the boss menu now, which is great. So you could just go one by one, blow through all of them, and get the increased drop on all of them, which is nice for, you know, flames and cubes and soul shards and all that stuff. So that's usually how I get that value. But if you can know beforehand, like, this is how I'm going to do that boss, and you've already practiced it a bunch of times, you can make that whole process smoother as well.
Yeah, I think it'll be way better if we speed it up for sure. The weekly run's not so bad.
Yeah, and then for CPAP, I have the video. Hard Hill has probably a joke at this point. You just cleave her a few times, throw a Ruin down, and she's probably explodes.
Really.
Yep. It kind of past that point where she can get very annoying. With the lifesteal and everything.
Yeah, I haven't seen the lifesteal yet.
No, it's good. It's good. Okay, and then like mid and long term, do you have any giant plans?
I'd like to like midterm would probably be to do a Lomian,
Mm-hmm.
my friend, and then obviously long term I'd want to be in like lucid will parties and stuff.
Mm-hmm. And do you have like a
But
direct line to that from your guild, or are you not really looking
no,
at that right
I
now?
not yet. I think there's not that many people like in my guild that are like doing lucid runs without having like a set party already. So
Okay.
I'll have to find people.
Yeah, maybe you'll be able to fill a few times if there's like a slot available.
Yeah, they have offered that. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I can't even get into will yesterday. They were offering hard will yesterday.
Yeah,
And I
that
was
one
like,
level.
yeah, I can't. Yeah, I can't yet.
Yeah, 235. That's a rough one to start because actually it's usually pretty rare that people offer like a will spot to someone who's never done it before because there's like the ability to completely tank your team if you mess up.
Mm-hmm.
Basically, there's a bunch of test areas, right? I don't know if you've seen will. There's like a bunch of test phases, and if anyone dies during it, then the whole test fails, and you have to wait 2 minutes until the test triggers again. So if anyone messes up at any time and dies, then you basically lose 2 minutes of the run, and that can happen a lot of times, especially if someone is pretty new.
Damn, no, honestly, I haven't looked at will because I thought it wasn't anywhere in the cards yet. Because I'm just focusing on the 235, hit the symbols, and then really work on Legion.
Okay, for
low right
will,
now.
it's really weird, but there's like someone who made like little Scratch games. This guy, Seal Pillow on Scratch. There's one for Black Mage where you have to like duck and attack. There's also a bunch for will, which are actually pretty interesting. It'll help you. It's pretty silly, and of course it's not exactly like in the game. Here, I'll link it to you. But you can use them to kind of already get like a feel for what it's like to like fight will in game. So there's like this is like generally for phase 1 and for phase 2 is that you just want to be able to dodge. There's like these spider legs that come around all the time, and they just do a significant amount of damage. So you just want to be able to move fast enough to not get hit by them, basically.
Yep.
So yeah, this seems like silly, but they come. It's the same like when you see them materialize, and then they come out, and then they deal a lot of damage. Like, and then you can see how quickly you need to respond. That one's pretty funny. And then the phase 2 is typically the hardest one. So for phase 2, depending on the pattern on the ground, you will have to either get hit by those legs or dodge them. So typically you go to the left side of the corner, because then if you have to dodge, you can just hug the corner and it's whatever, you just stay there. But then as soon as you have to get hit, it all comes down to the timing of being in the right spot at the right time, and getting hit. Can I like mute a page? How do I do that? Oh, I think I can turn off. Where's the music?
You can right-click the tab and mute it if you're on Google Chrome.
Oh, here, yeah. Okay, mute site. There you go. So you can like, they basically someone else's recording. So now you see the crack on the ground. Now you have to get hit. So you basically get to move to where the cracks are and like the same rhythm. And now you don't see cracks, so now you should not get hit. But it's like the same pattern. So usually people just hug the left corner. Oh, and now you see crack again, right? You see down in the bottom of the middle of the map. Now you got to walk into it. The important thing is that you don't look at other people, but you only look at yourself, because other people are going to have delays, right, based on what you're doing. And that's where most people fuck up in the beginning. They just move with the crowd, and that means that they usually move too late because of the delay.
Yeah.
So it's important to just move in your own time. And, you know, this can be a little bit laggy, and it's not like a perfect situation for sure, but it'll give you some idea of how quickly you need to respond and how quickly you need to move.
Well, I mean, it can't hurt. It won't. It won't
Yeah,
make it worse.
yeah, exactly. Like, it'll just give you a little bit of an understanding of what you can expect. And the general thing is, of course, you know, you'll learn how big the hitboxes are, how big the attacks are, how long you have to respond to them, and just want to focus on dodging them. Except when you need to get hit, right? And here you can see he didn't get hit because I think he was a little bit to the right, a little bit too far. But yeah, so these can be interesting. And then the last one is for phase 3, which one is this is the hardest one for some classes, but is very easy if you're a flash jump class. So for Adele, it should be pretty easy. I think it's spacebar to jump, yeah. So you basically want to jump in time. So that one is like a stay pattern. and then the big one is a move pattern. So you want to like flash jump in time to make sure that you don't get hit. So if I were to flash jump here during that one, oh, I was too late there. But if you don't move, you don't use a movement skill, then it says like boom, it says get hit. So it means that your timing was off. Or if I flash jump here, I get hit. Kind of, yeah. Like when he goes up in the air and then you're still on the ground, then you die to that. Yeah, it's kind of similar to that. So there's like, this goes combined with other stuff, right? Because there I jumped too early, right? So I still got hit. So you have to time it more properly. There's also a teleport one, which is a little bit wonky, of course. There, I teleported too early. For teleport, it's a little bit harder because it's a very narrow window. But this goes together with other things as well. Like he'll try to push you back as well. And if you get pushed back into the... Yeah, this thing is very laggy right now, so I can't properly time it. Usually I'm pretty good at this, okay, trust.
Yeah,
but yeah, it goes together with a bunch of other mechanics, of course, but when people yell like move or something, then you know what to do. You know to flash jump, and then you can see him, you can recognize the timing, and then that'll help you just not die out, basically, so you can get those clears.
Yeah, that'd be perfect.
But yeah, practice mode, it's like, practice mode for Will won't do much forever, right? Because he's level 250, you're not going to do damage to him, you're not even going to get to the tests, you're not going to be able to practice at tests. So for Will, that's not very helpful. But for Lucid, you can just go in there, phase 1, and even if you can't go to phase 2 is more about just staying pretty close to the boss so you can see what she's doing. And then as soon as people yell sickles and you see her like lighting up like a fucking Christmas tree, you just jump away and you get out of the way. Not like all the way to the other side of the map, but just like far enough to be able to respond. Yeah, because she'll just send out sickles in random directions. And you want to, the further away you are because of fucking physics, right? There's more distance in between the sickles, so there'll be more places for you to be safe rather than if you're close. You're more likely to just get blasted by them.
Yeah.
What is Ludi music? It's so loud. Chill. Okay. All right. That's all cool. That's all clear. So are there any things, because I mean, I went through the stuff. A lot of the stuff seems pretty good. I guess in general, the Legion is kind of underdeveloped, but that's totally understandable in the earlier stages where you're just still enjoying and getting up to 235 on your main. But you already said, like, you plan to spend a little bit more time on Legion, right? Once all the regions are unlocked and such.
Yeah, exactly, because then I can get full use out of the whole Legion system.
Exactly.
I don't know want to work, so.
Yeah, but you got the right stats here, so you know about switching the mid stats, right? And about working towards the outer stats once your Legion gets bigger.
Yeah, I'm trying.
Yeah.
Kind of learned.
Yeah, I'm not trying to reprimand you that you haven't done it yet, just to get a clear... as long as you know like what you're working towards after that, then I don't have to like harp on that or get into that too much.
Yeah, no, I think my next, I gotta figure out, maybe do like one of the archers or something, because I'm missing like 2% crit.
Yeah, just that 2%, yeah.
I want to get that. And then for my V matrix, so those like skilled nodes, like the EXP nodes, should I just be using it on my like leave boost node or on one of the skills alone because they're harder to get?
Yeah, a lot of times people will use it on the True Arachnid Reflection that they get at 235, because it only levels up with the red nodestone that you can get from Will or from experienced nodestones, from hard Will or from red nodestones. So sometimes people hold for that. I don't know if that's super necessary because the skill hits a lot of damage even at level 1, where it will basically one-shot mobs, and for bossing it'll do a significant amount of damage. It's basically just like min-maxing for bosses, to be honest. So you could use it for that. That's probably fine. The other thing I would use it on is probably use it on a skill node that's important. So for you, that would be Infinity Blade. That'll probably be the secondary option. So once you get 235 and use a skill, you feel like it's pretty strong, you feel like it's good enough, then you can leave it level 1. Honestly, it's not that big of a deal. Or you can level it up if you want to, or you can use it on Infinity Blade. It's not super important either way, I don't think. It gives you the equivalent of like 2 or 3 nodes, so it's a nice little boost, but it's also not like boom, it maxes your skill or anything. So
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it's not as huge of an impact either way.
Yeah, I know there's a couple still left in the pink bean shop, so I gotta grab those ones as well.
Yeah, those are really expensive though. I would grab those, but only if you were like overflowing with pink beans. I think they're too pricey, honestly, for what they give you. If I'm
It
being
grabs
honest.
the,
Yeah.
the regular nodes from there though.
Yeah, definitely the regular ones, because those are like, what, 70 beans each or something?
Yeah.
But the experienced ones are like 1,000, right?
Let me see.
I think.
Yeah, 70 and 1,000.
Yeah, so I don't know if they're
You
worth
only buy
14 nodes. Like, that seems a bit excessive. I'll probably look more at, you know, depending on what your situation of your account is, like more at flames or more at, what, wait, can you grab flames with regular beans? You can grab them with black beans.
Yeah, you can with regular beans.
Mm-hmm.
Because I grabbed all the just the regular rainbow ones because I just got my Dawn pendant and I was pretty hyped and I was hoping to get a nice flame on it.
Mm-hmm.
I got a really nice 72.6% int. That was
Yeah. Oh, because you're a warrior and you get ints? That's so weird.
yeah.
Wow.
That one felt real good. I was
Crazy.
like, oh, look at this.
Yeah.
Let me switch classes real quick.
Yeah, no, that's good. You're gonna see that a lot. Pink bean shop. Let me look real quick. Oh yeah, got like event ring exclusive Meister cubes. It's a bit unfortunate because we only have one event ring that you can get this event, and you have to wait quite a bit until you get that one. But I guess the symbols would be quite nice to buy. Yeah, I think 1,000 is just too expensive. I wouldn't do it like this early in the game. If you're like more like late mid game, like early late game, and you don't really, you know, your symbols are going fine, or you only have like 1 or 2 regions you can buy the symbols for anyway, because the rest of them are maxed, and you have most of the bags, and there's not that much else to buy with the pink beans, then maybe I would go for it.
Okay, so maybe just focus on getting the rest of those rainbow flames, and then
Eternals, yeah, maybe the Karma Meisters, maybe. Right, if you get some legendary, you can roll for the drop in the mezzo and stuff. That's up to 3k you can dump in that as well. They'll save you some money.
Okay. Used for 10 days. Okay. Yeah, I'm also trying to save up to get that event ring because I'm still missing one ring.
Yeah, event ring, and then there's a legendary coupon for it as well later on, right?
Yeah, so I'm just gonna have to sit on it, I guess, till a few more days after.
Yeah, 12k. Yeah, a few more days, probably more than a few days. Yeah. But like, I think there's gonna be
2 weeks, a week or 2.
Yeah, there might be a cap again, right? Because it's like 18. Because now there's a cap on 6k, right? You can't go past 6k now until the next the next reset. Yeah, until December 15th, I believe. So I believe, you know, if there's any kind of logic in this stuff, then I think we will be stuck on 12k as well until the end of January 12th, I believe, and then we'll be able to go from there up to 18k. So probably be sitting at 12k for a while as well, waiting for the next one. And you can see there are some flames as well and some cubes on the way there. That's kind of
the next section looks pretty promising. So.
Yeah. The first section was like, it's okay though. I mean, this is pretty good. This is pretty good. But then this next section looks pretty sexy, and then the last one is pretty nice too. It's good stuff.
Yeah. I have to get my Mercedes up so I can use some of those bonks.
Yeah. Get those levels. Yeah.
Yeah, so that's, and then I'm trying to save up too, because there's like the fairy heart, and I don't have anything in that slot right now.
Yeah. Yeah, you have quite a while to save up for that, but yeah, that's definitely a good thing to go for.
Yeah, it'd be nice to have before DMT, so I could try to get it legendary as well.
Yeah, true.
And then I was thinking, so I should probably still legendary all my Absolab gear instead of just hopefully waiting for like Arcane in like a few months or something, right? Like it's probably worth the investment now to get it further ahead.
Get further ahead on what?
So like, I should not even try like doing Lucid and stuff without like getting my Absolab like legendary. I shouldn't just skip it, just waiting a few months for Arcane, right? I should just try to get the power now.
Yeah, so that kind of depends on what your future's looking like. So when it comes to upgrading stuff, it always comes down to like, okay, like how much stronger can you get from this? Is that increase functional for you? And like how long are you going to be able to enjoy it, right? Those are always the questions you want to have answered before you decide to invest in something. Because if you don't ask those questions, the answer is always yes, go for it, because you can always get stronger. And that kind of like reduces the whole point of where do you even care, or do you just always try to upgrade everything, right? So whether you are going to solo content or you're going to like do struggle parties or you're trying to get carried, that very heavily influences the part of whether the upgrade is functional, and definitely also the part of how long are you going to be using the gear, right? So how you see the future and how quickly do you think that you're going to get into big parties and be able to, specifically, I'm kind of beating about the bushes. Like, if you're going to get direct carried and like very quickly, then you're not going to hold on to the gear very long. And then as long as you can mob okay, then you're totally fine with just leaving your gear however it is and just solely focusing on the next pieces. If you do struggle a little bit with mobbing, then you can definitely make some short-term adjustments to be able to get your mobbing up to par. And then when it gets to that point, you stop there. If you're not getting carried, but you're going to be carrying your own weight, and you're really going to be in a party where it's necessary that you do the damage, then there is definitely a point where you have to get to, and that's mostly you try to get to the point where you can do hard lucid, hard will, which is like 17 everything, basically 17 star everything, and then basically everything legendary with at least 2 useful lines. And if you're staying Abzo, that means you probably also have to get your CRA to higher Star Force than 17, with like at least 19, but probably up to 21. And then as long as your weapon, secondary, and emblem is solid and at least 2 good useful lines, you have the superior completed, your Legion is, and your Legion link skills, all that stuff is higher up. You're looking at being level 245 to 250, so your Legion probably over 4k, probably going towards 6k. And your boost nodes are going to be maxed at that point, right? Skill nodes probably like around level 10, 15, something like that. Maybe a little bit higher for the super useful ones, maybe a little lower for the not so useful ones. At that point, you'll be able to like contribute hard lucid and hard will, and then you just sit on that basically. Star Force wise, you can go higher, like I said, like on CRA and maybe on accessories if you have a lot of backups. By that time, maybe Dineros, transposing pendant. Maybe if you get a Pup Mark, transposing a Pupilatus Mark into a Sweetwater Monocle, that kind of stuff. But you're mainly holding out for like the arcane weapon and then the rest of the arcane pieces at that time. And then you also go to 17 star and go to the same potential, but then you go really hard on those flames because those can be really good. Plus those equips you're going to be keeping forever, right? So then you can go hard on flames for sure.
That makes a lot of sense.
So that's like a general progression. And also once you get that superior set completed, that's when you try to split up accessory-wise, like a specific drop rate meso set and a specific damage set. And up till now, sometimes it's a little bit, it's a little bit ambiguous whether a piece is 1 or 2, or it can be part of both, right?
Yeah, well, right now, because I don't have a lot of like extra accessories or like extra rings that like qualify. So like superior gear also. I was just fortunate enough to to get a strength line in almost all of it. So.
Yeah, because you didn't overlap with any big event ring events, right? You didn't get like a bunch of those.
No, I haven't. This is the first event ring that's come up since I started playing.
Yeah, and at this point, you have to really go looking for rings at this stage of the game if there is an event that just has a bunch of them. So that makes a little sense that you're in that situation. That's not bad or anything.
No, but yeah, I can't wait to get my superior pendant, get that going. Yeah,
the main thing you're looking for now is like a 30% off Star Force event, right? To try to get all your Abzo up to 15.
Yeah,
that'd be ideal. And then hopefully you can get much of the superior and like the Kana treasure and that kind of stuff all up to 15. If you can get so one thing I'm not seeing anything of, but I hope that you have some of is like Dineros. Yeah, you have 263. Are you working on the voyages are you doing like short-term or long-term approach on that? You do the accessories. Okay,
I have all the accessories, and now I just upgraded my boat because I didn't know about that till or I didn't look into it till you mentioned it one time.
Yeah.
So I just upgraded it like a little bit ago, and I'm just leveling it up to try to get the Dreadnought.
Right. Okay. Cool. Yeah, but you have at least one of the accessories. Okay, so that's cool. Yeah, so like a 30% off event would be like massive for you right now. But you want to keep enough money for the hard to try to DMT it up. Yeah, that's also true.
Because I was thinking, I'm not sure how much money I'll have, especially if I'll be working on Legion. So I was thinking of doing Legendary, my emblem, my WSE, and then the Fairy Heart, and then all the Gollux gear And then if I had money, I'd do the gloves or something, and then that'd be probably about it. I don't know how much better the DMT event is for like getting items to legendary, but
yeah, I mean it's double the chance of tiering up, so that's pretty good. The problem is just tiering up is a downgrade unless you have the money to roll as well, right? So you want to make sure that you don't spend like 4 bill and get like a bunch of items to legendary, but then have no money to roll it in legendary, and then you basically just lose like 40% of your damage, because that sucks. Because then, then the event kind of backfires, right? And as far as being unique on your WSE goes, it's pretty solid WSE for unique. And we're looking at like 3 weeks from now, right, for DMT.
I do have some red cubes saved up, but I only have like 30, so
yeah.
It's not really much for anything.
Which is great if you're, rolling like 1 or 2 items like at legendary already to try to get something useful out of it. But that's about it.
I think I can always push the fairy heart back a little bit because I think I have till February to buy it, right?
Yeah,
so,
yeah, that would free up like 2.5 bill or something. Yeah, because I think like when you're mobbing, because you're going right into Arcana now. At the higher levels of Arcana, you're struggling a little bit, but up until there, everything just dies quickly, right?
Yeah, everything gets one shot until because then you hit like the passive one where your auto does like your cleave does just a little bit more. Those ones get 1 hit, and the other ones have like a sliver.
Yeah, and then sometimes your toggles kind of like finish them off, but not always.
Yeah, sometimes my blades will just do the last little bit of them. And then,
Yeah, you mentioned side path. Wasn't there like one map where you can kind of like hump from rope to rope? Is that the one you're talking about?
No, I don't think so. I'm talking about the path, the one that's got like the 4 platforms on each corner, and then the one is in the middle. More to the
Oh,
down.
This one? Lower
No.
CLP2, this one?
I can't see. It's a little frozen. No, the other one in the middle section.
This one?
No, no, the middle vein. So to your left. Yeah, right, that one.
I think. Oh yeah, I think that's where I was at my marksman, right? Yeah, I got like the middle platform. You can like hit 4 on the sides. Yeah. Yeah, for Adele, chat. Which map was this? I think my cannoneer went here, and then Adele went. Was it here, or there? Was it one of these two? Basically, where you have like a really big platform on top, and you have like 3 platforms on the bottom, and on the top left and the top right, you have like a slightly smaller platform on the side with a little rope down. And if you basically just jump on the rope, flash jump to the middle, and just cleave while you're falling, and maybe throw out a hunting decree, you fall right into the crack between the platforms, and you teleport to the other top right side. And then you do it there, and you go inward from the top right to the... Yeah, it's like mirrored when I'm using my hands.
Oh, that sounds
but
really
basically, you jump like diagonally down through the middle of the map the whole time. And you've got pretty good map clear. And then while you're looting, you throw out like the Infinity Blade or any of the other skills, or you use Ruin, use Storm, right, when you're mobbing, so that you're still moving around the map and still killing a bunch. But that one's like really, really good for Adele's, and kind of brain dead too.
I'll have to find it.
Yeah, it's somewhere on the left branch. I think it's one of these two, but I could be mistaken. I think I used this one for my cannoneer, so it's got to be like one of these two here. The bot map? Oh, all the way to bottom map? Upper path? Oh, maybe it's one of the bottom two. Someone's saying the bottom map. Upper path. Oh, the one all the way here. Arcana, the deepest part of the cavern, upper path. Apparently it's that one, people are saying. So yeah, if you can kill there properly, then you're just like rolling in income. So if you're pretty close to that, with your boost nodes having room to grow and stuff, I almost feel DMT is definitely this one. DMT is so you can walk like off the platform and then flash jump at the right time on the way down and cleave, but that's like a little bit more room for error. So if you just press down on the ladder for just a little bit, flash jump and cleave while you're attacking, then you can just like in your second cleave you'll get teleported over, right?
Yeah,
And then you
actually,
can
yeah.
yep.
Okay.
And it's just
Perfect.
pretty brain dead. You put a
try
totem in, there's so many monsters.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah, that's like the map when when Adele's just came out and like they got to Arcana, that map was full every single channel constantly because it was just so good.
It's a little.
Yeah, so if you can kill properly there, you're good for like all the way up to 250 basically. Like you know, you can go to Moonbridge earlier and get more cards and all that stuff, but you should be pretty much good up to 250 in that map, which means that it's only going to get easier and easier, and you don't need to overfund, especially not if, you know, again, what I talked about, like if you're mainly relying on carries, then for bossing, you don't really need to overfund either.
Mm-hmm.
So then I would almost... okay, so I would let it depend on one factor. Like, if we see that there's a 30% off coming, and that, like, intersects completely with the DMT for you, you have a bunch of unique stuff, but... yeah, DMT is probably more important to get everything to Legendary. I'd probably prioritize getting Legendaries, yeah, if it intersects with DMT. Ideally, there's like... you know, if we get another 4 weeks, hopefully there's no 30% off there. You can dedicate to DMT, get yourself a Legendary. You know, roll with those red cubes or roll enough to make sure that you at least don't lose damage but gain a little bit. And then hopefully 30% off like another 3 or 4 weeks after that. And then you can jump on that one to try to get everything up to 15. Because the main thing with 30% off is that it's huge to get you to 15. But also it's pretty expensive compared to how much you get back for it, right? But the main thing is that once 5.10.15 comes out, that's when you cash in hardcore.
Yes.
And you want to have everything waiting at 15 so you can cash in there.
Yeah, because I got really lucky. I chanced it with my weapon, because I think it was like 12 stars before the 5.10.15. And I just spent so much money on the cubing seal to get Miso's gear that I just kind of like risked it for the biscuit and didn't safeguard any of it. Luckily, I got it up to 15, and then I got it on my second try to 17. So it was pretty fluky.
Yep. Yeah, that's big gains. That's a lot of weapon attack there. You probably gain like what, like 40, 50 weapon attack from that?
Yeah, I mean, it was really good. It was just, I felt bad because like I've just finished doing it, and my friend sent me a picture. He had boomed his Galaxy earrings and his boots, Absolute boots, and I was like, oof. I guess I got lucky.
yeah, you kind of. Well, you know, it's one thing to know that what you did was risky, but it's also another thing. You can always look up like how risky it is, right? Because everyone has their own level of risk aversiveness. I'm very risk aversive, so I'm like very careful. I always wait for all the events, always make sure I have backups, all that stuff. But that's also why I progress on multiple characters, so that I can always see like, okay, on which character is like the lowest risk now, and where can I make like the most significant upgrade. If you're on one character, sometimes you do have to take more risk if you are wanting to keep progressing, or you have to be sometimes near infinitely patient for an upgrade that might never come. But there are calculators out there, right? I don't know if you're familiar with them, but like for Star Force, we have exclamation mark Star Force. For cubing, we have exclamation mark cubing. And you can throw the numbers in there and just let it calculate like how much is it going to cost, you know, how much is going to, on average, how many backups do I need on average? So that way you can know, were you lucky or were you unlucky? Like, let's say that for your friend's situation, there was 10% of his shit booming, and he booms it both. He was just very unlucky. Let's say that for you, there was...
One was 12 to 13 stars. It was like...
yeah, exactly. Like, that's very unlucky. So just because he booms from 12 to 13 and you don't, doesn't mean you were lucky. You might still be... you know, cost-wise, you might still have been in the below average luck. You might have also been unlucky, just not quite as unlucky as your friend, right? That's possible. So, you know, lucky and unlucky is kind of like, you know, we talk about it in common parlance as like, you know, having a good or a bad outcome. But it's very possible that you had a quote-unquote good outcome, but you were still unlucky, at least numbers-wise. So it's good to know, to double-check sometimes, depending on how much risk you're willing to take on. Knowing beforehand, like, this is how likely you are to need a backup, this is how likely you are to spend this amount of money.
Yeah, I'll definitely
do that in the future, but it was just like the
Mhm.
crunch time of like 5, 10, 15's here now. Like, do you want to get 17 or not? Or
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
figured mine was already at 12 stars, and I wasn't too many Damien tokens or like Dark World tokens away from getting another weapon. I was like, screw it, I'll just go for it. Like,
Yeah.
I don't have anything to lose.
Yeah, could you go back to your Fafnir, or did you transfer that one over?
I transferred that one over, but I still have my Sweetwater, and that's 13 stars.
Yeah.
But I think the damage loss is like, I think it's like, yeah,
That's probably
1
pretty
point,
significant.
like a mil and a bit.
Yeah, because well, you can't flame that one properly, so that's usually a huge loss. And then the potential is probably just epic, I'm guessing.
It's unique.
Oh, it's unique, yeah, okay.
The lines suck.
Unfortunate, yeah. Yeah, sometimes you have to take some calculated risk, but it's good to just look at the numbers and let that decide, like, okay, are you okay with this, or are you not okay with this? And then if you're okay with this, then you can commit, right? And if you're not okay with this, then it's like, okay, well, I'll just hold. Because sometimes events come at unopportune times, and then it's also like an art almost to be able to say, or like there's a trick to being able to say, like, okay, I'm just gonna let this event pass me by because it's just too risky, and I'm just gonna bide my time, make more money, and then go hard in the next event, you know? Because sometimes events can be baits to be like, hey, don't you want to get a 17 star? And then, you know, you blow your shit up and it's like,
Well,
man.
that's what it was. 'Cause I got super greedy, but I knew that the weekend before, like or the couple days before, I needed to get Meso's gear. Like I felt like, you know, I'd only be handicapping myself if I didn't get it.
Basically, yeah.
And then I just got greedy for the 17 stars.
Yeah. Yeah, the thing is, yeah, like another 5 to 15 would be great, but hopefully there's a 30% off before then, because then you can be all set to just bump everything up to 17. But yeah, if nothing like that gets announced before the DMT, then that's probably a good time to get to Legendary. Like, you can get a lot of gains from just your Abzo stuff getting up to Legendary. I don't know about the WSE. Like, you would have to, for all of them, you'd have to get pretty decent lines to be able to overpower what you have now. And you are relying on the IED as well to be able to kill efficiently for bosses, right, from your secondary. But yeah, ideally you want the IED on the emblem so that you can have the extra out of boss damage on your secondary, if possible. Plus, if you lose the critical rate, then that puts you in a slightly worse position critical rate wise, right?
Yeah, that critical rate's pretty important right now, because until I get my Legion up a little higher, like,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah,
kinda
Legion.
it's keeping me really close. I just need to get that extra 2%.
Yeah. Yeah, Legion should take its place. Yeah, so you're 3 weeks away. Yeah, I don't know. I would almost be more inclined to prioritize the... Usually I don't say this, but I would almost be more inclined to prioritize the Absolab and try to get that up to Legendary. Because the potential for gain is just so much higher there than on your WSC right now. Because you would have to get really good rolls to be able to compensate for what you lose on a WSE, versus any roll on Absolab is like a flat-out increase at this point. Plus, I think if you keep the WSE unique like it is, you make big gains on Abzo, you focus on getting everything up to 17 and moving into the Sweetwater accessories. For training, you're going to be absolutely fine. And for bossing, the extra arcane power coming in, the extra boost notes coming in, and then the scaling with everything is probably going to keep you fine for all the way up until like even just normal Lucid, and maybe when you move into normal Will hard Lucid, like that situation, then you can think about like popping up the WC up to Legendary. And maybe at that point you can also see like, wait, maybe an arcane weapon is close now because maybe you found a bunch of droplets, maybe you have enough of money and enough Lucid droplets to maybe go for the arcane weapon, and then you can totally skip going for Legendary on the weapon, and you can go straight into an arcane weapon and then work on your secondary, your emblem.
Yeah.
With that.
Okay. So yeah, so you just so you're just saying not to risk, you know.
Yeah, for most people, either there's WSE is already Legendary now, or it's like epic and it's garbage. So if it's epic and it's garbage, yes, I would focus it first. Or if it's Legendary and it has like shit lines, I would roll on that first. That's typically most people's situation. But yours is like unique and pretty good lines combined. Definitely comparative to the other stuff. So I almost feel like there's way more priority in Legendarying up like your last accessories, right? So you can get that drop rate, and then the Absolab, so you can go into full strength gear there, and the gloves, of course, so you can get some crit damage there. And so I would prioritize those. If you still have like a lot of money left, you get really lucky, you have a lot of money left, then you can also do the WSE, right? And then just roll on that. But I would put those lower priority.
Okay, that makes sense. I guess you need something to look forward to.
Yeah, because your character is just so strong, so you can. That's good enough, I would say.
Yeah, I've been putting off doing the Dom pendants potential because I've just been like, I'm a wishful thinker. I'm hoping that the good flame's gonna come in the next little bit. I'm gonna have to cube it anyway, so.
Yeah.
But yeah, might have to do it maybe just for the event, just to get. I would hate to put that and turn that into drop gear though. So maybe,
yeah. Do you have a decent mechanator maybe?
Yeah, I have one that's not too bad, I think. Yeah, 54 strength, but.
Yeah, that's something.
So maybe I can do that.
So you get the horntail, mechanator, and then you need one more ring. No, you have 4 rings.
I'll have my actually, I guess I can make my pendant, my superior pendant, 1 line drop and then call her good.
Yeah, that could be like a temporary one. Yeah. And then maybe you get another Dominator before the time everything is 17 and Legendary, which, it'll take a while. If you by that time you get another Dominator, then you can turn the other Dominator into the drop and then reroll the Superior and get that dedicated to the damage gear.
Yeah.
Or, in the meantime, maybe if you find like some crazy like 84 strength or whatever, like Mechanator, then you can just use that one as well. That'll probably be really good still. Still gives you the set bonus, They'll be good enough as well if you get some crazy flame on a Mechanator. But I wouldn't like go flaming Mechanators,
No, don't go out of my way if I stumble across one. I'll use it.
If you do get flames though, are you familiar with like flame scores and what kind of values you're aiming for stuff?
Yeah, so I've used the calculator that you recommended, and I know like I have a couple items that are done, like my top, pants.
Jesus, your top of your pants and your cup are so good. What the fuck?
Yeah, the cup.
They're like better than my arc stuff. This is ridiculous.
yeah, I have like my guild leader said that too when he saw the pink cup.
Yeah.
Was,
with some decks too. And the top is also 72 and 5, 64 and 6. Yeah, those are really, really solid.
Yeah, but I've used your calculator for a lot of it. I know I'm trying to work on the helmet next because I know I'm trying to do like the things that I know I'll keep for like ever. So just I'm doing those first and then working on other stuff as I go.
Yeah, the Abzo has a lot of room for growth as well. But like you said, you probably won't keep it as long. But I think you're still gonna get it up to 17 in Legendary and keep it for a bit. And because they're higher level items, the potential for growth is bigger, right? In the same tier, they'll on average get better results. So. Like in your situation, I probably would, because the hat is even with the 4 attack and everything. Oh well, maybe it's a little bit different from the picture now, but it looks like the glove probably has the biggest range for growth, and then the cape and the shoe probably after that. I think it'd be something. If you look at the numbers again for flames, there's a calculator as well. I'm pretty sure something similar, something silly like an average of 5 flames or something would probably improve that flame already. Whereas for your hat, that number will be greater. Let's see, right? Armor, red flames, 160. I hate that it says 8. I always want to put it at 9. They said that even if you're looking for like 75 or something on Eternal, it's like 8 to 13 flames.
Oh, okay. Wow.
For 75, and right now they're all at like barely 50, right? Like, or just over 50. So doing like a 20 stat increase from like 10 flames on average on the Abzo stuff. Whereas the hat,
might be something I'll have to look into for sure.
Yeah, because the hat is already close to 70.
Yeah, I think maybe I'm just blinded by like how good the flames were on like the top and bottom, where I just like
Yeah, that can set like a false. Yeah. This is like someone who gets their emblem to legendary and rolls like 30% attack and 5 cubes and is like, oh, everything can. Oh, this is so easy. And it's like, no. That is not. Just because you got it quickly doesn't mean it's easy now. It's still very, very rare. Yeah, no, the top. Yeah, like I said, like the top and the bottom and the cup is better than what I have on my arc. So, but that's great because that means that it can compensate for some other flames that are like a little bit on the lower side. and make it so that you don't have to get super, you know, bent over backwards to try to get everything perfect, because they will compensate a little bit. Because those are like not a super realistic outcome, right? Because if you're looking at those, 72 and 5, so that's 72 and 9, 45, 117, right? For the pants, for example, like that's a 6 to 8.5 bill flame, right? That's like 600, 900 flames.
Damn.
I don't know if on average you're willing to spend that much per an item, right? Most people, I think, when they go for the stats, are usually, depending on the stage of the game, looking more for like a 2 to 3 bill flame cost per item.
Yeah, we're talking. Yeah, that's super lucky then, because I think it was like less than 100 mil or something.
Yeah, so if you get like, well, yeah, but like the average expected with 100 mil is what your hat has.
Oh, okay.
That's like the median cost for your hat, like close to 70, right? So you got 45 higher, doesn't even sound like that much, but that's billions of value extra, yeah.
Yeah, you see that? I don't think I've used this calculator. I've used the other one that you had linked with your video.
Yeah, so that one's just to check how much the flame score is, and then you can use this one to calculate how much it's on average going to cost you to get that much, or how many flames you have to use. So usually, yeah, because just looking at like, okay, this one is more likely to upgrade, that's one thing to know. But then how much more likely it is and how much are you willing to spend on it, or how many flames are you going to have to throw on it, that's another question. Because if it's like, oh, this one needs like 11,000 flames, but this one only needs 8,000, neither of those seem like good options to upgrade. Even though one is a better one, it's not a good one, right? So this one, the further you go, this one will put it more into perspective, like this is the expected rate of return of using flames. And usually once you see numbers here that are like over 200, that's typically for me the sign, okay, I'm gonna start flaming another character. Fuck this character, this one's done. I'm moving on to the next character and maybe turning that one into a bossing mule or a side character, or just doing more content with that character. Or maybe even like a 160, 170 that has some Zakum accessories that have flame advantage, and just trying to get an okay flame on that, so that if I ever want to level that one up to 200, it'll be a lot stronger when I get to that point, and then I can work on 6k, 8k Legion faster.
Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
Yeah.
So then would you recommend that, like, for the last few rainbow flames that I get from the event, should I just maybe do the Absolab stuff then? Or should I still be trying to do the Dom pendant?
I'd probably do the Abzo, because there's a very low chance for a big downgrade, and if you do a downgrade there, it's not very significant at this point.
Okay.
So there's a bigger, I would say there's a better rate for return. And you can just set a certain value in your head, right? Be like, okay, I'm okay with like an 80 flame score or something. Like I'm not really trying to look for anything higher, because they are quite temporary. And if they all hit 80, even if they all hit 80 compared to now, that's probably like 70 stat increase in total, or 75 or so stat increase in total. That's like a whole flame gained. And then you can always circle back to the hat. And at that point, if the hat goes bad, that's not as bad, because you have a bigger cushion, because you have more backup from the Absolab to cushion that blow.
So then should I be saving the Dom then pendant until I get my my pat mark or something, and then just do them both at the same time? Like instead of
I would say yes to that if it wasn't so incredibly fickle and unpredictable when or if you ever get a pat mark. But otherwise I would say yeah to that. But it's basically at the point where everything is 17 and everything is legendary 2-lined. That's when you would definitely want to specify like drop rate gear, damage gear, and that's when the damage gear you want to have the superior pendant, and like the whole superior set, and then the second pendant being the transpose Sweetwater. So then, because then mainly also you're not dropping money anymore for Star Forcing all the time. You know, you're not looking over your shoulder for the next Star Force event. Potential wise, you're not looking for DMTs. You're just re-rolling maybe with Meister cubes from bosses, or maybe buying red cubes every now and then. So all of your money is kind of loose at that moment, and then you can spend it on flames without feeling like I'm losing a lot of potential value, because what if an event shows up next week, right? Because there's not much for you to do at that point, except for huge expenses for going past 17 and going for like 19 or 21 on CRA, right? And then spending like a bill or two on flames to try to get something that's transpose worthy isn't like a huge expense anymore at that point. So that's usually when I spend more on Dominator. And then, of course, on a pat mark, if you have it, yeah.
Okay. That makes sense. So then maybe I'll just stop trying to rush it, because like I I got it and I was super hyped, so I automatically got it to like 16, and then I was like,
Mm-hmm.
I'm ready to go, ready to go. I just need the flame, but maybe I
Yeah.
just back off a little bit. Just
Yeah, it depends on events, right? Like if there was, like if you were further in the game, if there's a 5, 10, 15 coming, you do have the pendant waiting, you have a bunch of the narrows waiting. Then I would say like, yeah, just throw a bunch of money at the Dominator, get something good, try to transpose ASAP so that when the 5, 10, 15 hits, you can send it right away and it can catch up to your other items, you know, if everything else is 20 or 21. But you're in a completely different situation, different income and resources, so you want to set different priorities there.
yeah, maybe I'm just too like looking forward into the future too much, trying to get, you know,
Mm-hmm.
all the best gear I can.
And yeah, whatever second pendant you get now for drop rate is also going to be stronger and in filling the Dominator slots as a pendant, right? So you're already going to be stronger than this one, even if you don't upgrade this one at this current time.
Okay. Yeah, and I can't wait to get rid of the Horntail. So it's fine.
Is that one not going to become drop rate?
I don't know, because I didn't really waste that much in Star enforcing it, so I don't know.
It's already epic.
Yeah, I was thinking of perhaps just getting the superior pendant if I can, to like get like one line drop, one line strength,
Mm-hmm.
and then once it gets to like an event where, you know, like another cube sale comes or something, because it's probably gonna be a hot minute before I have enough money to really be re-rolling everything again. Or like you said, everyone keeps telling me that I should be star forcing next, like priority wise. So maybe just let that sit for a while, because it'll still be an upgrade from what I have now. So
Mm-hmm. But are you going to go for a second pendant?
yeah, I'll still be doing Helix just for coins every day.
Mm-hmm. But I mean like a second drop pendant, right? Like on the side, like either the Mechanator or the Dominator that we talked about. Because you can use the Chaos Horntail for that as well, because it's already epic and it gives you boss accessory set bonus as well. So you could use that one as drop set, although that one doesn't have flame advantage. But I mean, it has 2-line all stat, which is something, but it's already epic, so that's something you could consider.
Okay. Yeah, because I need to get what 66% drop rate or whatever.
Yeah, 60. Yeah, it's 66.666. So like 67 would be ideal. But your Holy Symbol gives a little bit, you know, and I think your Inner-ability is drop rate, right?
Yeah. But so maybe I need to get a couple, because I'd like to switch that out for Mesos.
Right. Yeah. If you get enough drop rate on the equips, then you can switch that out, and it'll just be an objective meso income increase. Yeah.
Yeah, I think my familiars do a pretty good job holding up for it. But those are only like 2.5 hours, right? So.
Yeah. The one thing I did want to mention with your familiars is that you have item drop rate and item drop rate small amount. Are you familiar with the percentages and the stacking? Because you didn't manage the mention the 67. But like drop rate and the drop rate small amount doesn't stack with each other, because they're like similar lines. So whichever is the highest percentage, that one will apply, and the other one doesn't go through.
Yeah, those were the only two drop things that I've gotten, so I just put them together.
Yeah. Okay, yeah, that's what I figured. That's what I did in the beginning as well, when we didn't really figure out how it worked yet, because you know all these systems are super untransparent, so people have to kind of figure them out themselves. But yeah, so in that same, so I have a command about drop rate. It's pretty useful for all of that. It also mentions like the 67% and like how far you have to go, and it highlights the differences between drop rate, meso drop rate, meso obtain, all of those things being different sources, and how much you can stack of everything. And it also mentions like the lines of the potentials of the familiars, how those stack, and like what percentages they represent. So that'll help you kind of distinguish like what do I want to equip, what do I want to equip with other things, and you know what am I still looking for in the next familiar.
Okay.
So that should help you with that. And then stacking and stuff, and like what is a realistic expectation for a situation for drop rate to go towards, and what is like the ideal situation that is like impossible with like 500% drop rate increase. You know,
because you were saying before, like when I was watching your videos and stuff, you always say like don't worry about too much of a familiars till you get to like the 240s or whatever, so you can farm like a lot of them. So I figured this is good enough. I got 30% ID and whatever item drop
definitely
rate,
and some drop rate. Yeah, this is as good as it's gonna get, honestly. Like regular drop rate, like without any prefix suffix, That's the biggest drop rate you can get in rare, and then 2 IED familiars 15%. That's like the best thing for bossing you can get up until epic. So this is like the only thing that would be better if you open like a booster pack and it happened to have an epic and it got boss damage or something, right? But that's like such a low ass chance. So like, yeah, you're definitely right. Familiarize, you're totally on point. And it's until you really go into one map. Because to get to the epics and to the uniques, you have to fuse a lot of the same ones together. And until this point, you get a bunch of different ones, so you can't do anything fancy with them. You have to be in the same area for a long time, fuse them all together, and then get up to epics and maybe uniques if you have like thousands of cards. And then hopefully reveal something nice in epic. Yeah.
Yeah. No. Perfect. Yeah. So I definitely spend more time on that down the line. But yeah, I think Legion. And then I've just been putting off doing it in Aaron because it just, I don't know, I just can't. I tried it and it just did not seem like something I wanted to play. But I think it's probably gonna be one of the next ones I do. Hopefully, hopefully I can grind through it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but
yeah, as your Legion gets bigger, every next character will be a bit easier. You'll get more crit rate in the beginning. Characters will kill faster, and that'll make a huge difference. The critical damage applying in the beginning is huge. Getting all that critical rate in might not be necessary for your main, but it's huge importance for your Legion. That's what makes characters the strongest. Some people, try to go into bonus experience too quickly, or try to use like too many buffs or spend too much money upgrading their equipment. It all comes down to just giving your new characters enough critical rate so that all of their critical damage applies. So once you get to 2k, 3k Legion, immediately in the board go towards critical rate and critical damage on the outside, and every next character is going to be infinitely easier to level up. And the second piece of advice I would give with that is just keep making new characters. Just new character, because the first 60 levels on a character or first 70 levels on a character is very easy. And that just counts as 70 levels, just the same as getting your main from 230 to 300. Both of that counts as 70 levels, but obviously one is way easier than the other, right? Like, doesn't even begin to explain how much. And because we have readily access to being able to get character slot expansions, you could basically make a new character every day, and in a month you will gain 2.1k Legion just from making a bunch of level 70s.
Oh, okay. So wait, where can you get the character expansions? Is it just from like the Hennessy shop?
Yeah, Hennessy shop sells them. Yep.
Okay, so maybe I'll do that. That seems like the easy way to get to.
Yeah, one level 70 a day, and then that's 2.1k in a month, and then you'll be at 3.4k. You'll be able to go 2 hexes outward, fill out the crit rate, fill out the crit damage, and you'll very easily be able to go back to them, get them all from 70 to 100, and then you can just do Zakum or maybe Monster Park if you have the extra space for doing Monster Park runs. And then it's all just easy 140s, and if they all get to 140 and a few of your characters are higher because of burn and all that stuff, you're at 6k Legion.
Okay, yeah, I didn't even think about that because I kept trying to start characters and I'd try to get them to like at least 120 every time. But
for some people find that more fun because they get to play the character a little bit longer and they get to connect with the character and story, and they get to do more content with the character. But if you're purely looking at it from an efficiency standpoint, you just want to churn out as many characters as possible.
Yeah, I'll probably do it that way.
Yeah.
Because a lot of the characters.
Yeah, I'm getting the vibe that it's not. A lot of them are not very fun for you. So the first 40 count, right? So you have 32 more characters whose levels, as long as they're 60 or higher, will count. So you can get to 32 more level 70s. That's 2,240 levels. So that puts you over 3.5.
Yeah, because Phantom, I just finished it yesterday with the Maple Variety event. I can't wait to never play it again.
I can't wait to never play it again.
Yeah, it's just something I didn't enjoy.
Yeah.
But he was too good, I guess. I had to.
Yeah, the link skill is pivotal because every new character, right, gonna access the link skill, access the Legion grid, gonna be able to put more characters on the board, because that's the main thing as well. Getting that Legion level up will allow you to expand the board, but also put more characters in there. So hopefully you get enough 140s so that you can put more 140s in there. But even if you don't, and you have to put like level 70s or something on there, just putting more characters on the board will help you as well. But it's the stats that you get access to. You get access to that crit and that critical damage. Every new character is just going to have 100% crit. You put all your links over because you can transfer them more now, right? Because every character always hits a crit. All the critical damage applies. Characters are just going to one-shot left and right.
Yeah, because I already noticed a difference when I like because whenever I level one character, I transfer all my links over, and it's it like instantaneously like doubles even like right at the beginning.
Yeah.
Um,
Yeah, once you get to
especially-
3K Legion, you get 2 extra hexes, and then from 2.5 to 3, you also get to put 5 extra characters on the boards. That's usually when if you make a new character then, a level 1 character is just going to feel like a level 60 character. Like, it's just going to hit like crazy. You're just going to hit like 6K crits on Maple Island, and it's going to be like, what is going on? You're going to start playing, and you have like 8K HP. You know, this beginning HP and MP potions don't even do anything for you anymore. And you level so quickly that you don't even need the potions, because every level up is just your potion. Yeah.
Like that's what I like. I want, you know. I feel like that's goals for me. Like that's what I like enjoy. Be like getting stronger and stuff like that. Even my whole account in general.
Yeah, and you'll be able to also you'll basically be able to get the 140 without spending a single meso, because the beginning is funded by your Legion and your links, and then once you get to 100, you're basically getting funded, quote unquote, by your 4th job, and you just do Zakum the whole way, and your 4th job will just always demolish Zakum for any class, and then you could just level off of Zakum. Just, you know, log in, kill, log out, log in, kill, log out. You do it on like 6 or 7 characters a day. It takes like, you know, like 20 minutes, but it's a huge amount of levels and a huge amount of EXP per day. And then you're just slowly coursing up to 6K with the occasional bump of a Terra Burn or of any kind of major bonking event. But then you can use that specifically to try to get level 3 links and stuff like that.
Do you do anything like? Do you try when you log into the meals? Do you like try to go get a rune or something and then go in, or do you just like log in, kill it, log out?
I usually never did, because I would make sure that I have more characters available. Because in the time that I would find a rune, go to Zakum and kill it with double EXP, and that time I could just do it on 2 characters instead and get the same amount of EXP, but just spread over more characters. So I would see it as experience per time instead of experience per character.
Okay. So you weren't worried about like how quickly you was gonna get to 140. You're just worried about getting all of them to 140 quicker.
Yeah, the ultimate thing I'm looking for is getting that Legion level up. And if that's spread over 2 characters or spread over 1 character, I don't care about that. What I care about is how much time it takes me to get there.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense.
So it's more like, it's definitely like a quantity approach rather than a quality approach, right? The quality approach would be like getting 1 character up there quickly. Quantity is just like throwing bodies at Zakum and just getting experience back, you know? Just massive, just power in numbers kind of thing.
It's not like it's fun. It's just you just kind of do it.
Yeah, you just kind of just obligated. Also, back in the day when I did it, you used to be able to run Zakum twice a day per character. So I had like unironically days where I would run 100 Zakums in a day, just doing it on all my characters. I only did that for like 3 days, but yeah, that was that was wild.
Yeah, and it's like you don't have enough time to even do your dailies. Like,
yeah, this was before. This was like when Legion started to come out, and then when that value really started coming in. But because before we had that like weird ass card system where you could get like different classes and you get like a small bonus for having certain classes together and stuff. It was really weird.
This system seems a lot cleaner.
Yeah, it's just a way bigger power spike as well. But this was like, when Arcane River was just out, and there was maybe like 1 area with 1 daily, you know, so that you weren't really as locked in at that point. So there was a lot more free time to do a bunch of other weird shit like that. Which ironically helped my account, because I would roll like epic interoperability on all of those characters and get like 8 or 9% meso obtain, because that's when bosses used to drop money straight up instead of crystals. So you get like a little bit more meso obtain for them, and then 2 characters a day, so you make like 5 mil per character per day, but that would all add up, and then sometimes you would get a cube, you know, which would be worth like 7 mil. You know, roughly, because that would be the price in the shop. And then, you know, all of that put together would kind of be like the way to fund my character while getting a bunch of levels as well. And then for Legion, it was like a big, nice 5 birds in 1 stone kind of ideal.
Yeah, for sure. I need to expand my storage slots too, because I know I got to transfer all those cubes that I get from leveling.
Yeah, storage will eventually need to be maxed, but it's pretty expensive to do, so you don't want to go too hard too quickly.
Yeah, I've been putting it off. I did like just on my main, I did the etc. and the use tab, because they're like the most. And then I've been working to try. I haven't gotten a a wealth potion scroll yet for some reason.
Mm-hmm.
I can't seem to.
Oh yeah, that's another one. Yeah, if you do a lot of Zakums, that'll just come flying as well. You won't be able to finish them all of them. There's just so many that'll drop.
Yeah, I need to get one because I've just been what's it called? I've been breaking down like all the equipments I get when I farm on my Adele, but I just haven't been able to get the scroll for it.
Extracting them, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the other thing is that you can that's kind of like the antidote for lack of drop rate is that you just throw more bodies at it, right? Well, you can't get it in Zakum in one run because you have like 80% drop rate or 60% drop rate. But what if you do it on 14 characters a day? Now you're basically getting 1400% drop rate. You'd have to be pretty unlucky to not get it on any of those runs. So in that way, you can just increase your chances by a lot as well. The same thing with like Arc, right? Getting primals is pretty hard on one character, but if you run it on 5 characters a day, you'd have to get really, really, really unlucky to never get it on one of those characters. And sometimes getting another character to do the same content with is more valuable than highly min-maxing on one character to try to improve your odds on that one character.
Yeah, that makes sense. Also for my rings too, I got my accessory crafting to 10. I haven't yet made the push for 12, obviously, because I know it drops and a little bit every day.
Yep.
So should I be working to get a Meister ring that I could eventually
So in general, it seems early. How are you on primals and materials in general?
So I think I have almost enough materials to make the Meister ring. I think I'm just missing a couple pieces of Twisted Time. But
you can on grand spells and on primals.
Yeah, I think I have. Yeah, I have a couple. I think I looked at the recipe. I think I have enough for my Ring. It's not like I can make like 3 or 4 of them. I don't know if it'd be worth maybe just waiting till I can make a couple before.
Yeah, and again, like usually you have a bunch of event rings now that can bridge the gap, so it's not as necessary. You might be in a unique situation where it is a bit more valuable to do it early because you've got the. Were you currently at 3 rings or 4? Because
I have 4, but I didn't even post the last one because it's just like Ephesus ring or whatever.
Ring. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you still have the Treasure Hunter John ring, which you could get. That can get a little bit of Star Force and can get some potential from Questline and NLC. So that you are kind of starved for rings at this point, because even with the extra event ring, it's not gonna like you have an overabundance of rings.
Yeah, I'd only be at 4 actual rings.
Yeah.
I'm not counting the Ephesus one or whatever.
Yeah, and by the time you get to like 17 star and you get the distinct drop and set bonuses, like you'll add the reinforced and the event ring, but even with that, you'll only be at like 6, so you still want to be at 8 ideally by that point. So you still want to add the Treasure Hunter John ring, maybe an extra kind of treasure, right? You can also go double, 1 for mezzo, 1 for damage.
Yeah, I'm looking for it. I haven't gotten another one yet.
So I guess if you get to the point where, most of your stuff is 15 and you're trying to make the push towards 17, and there is 5 to 15 like somewhere in the future that's been announced, and you still don't have a kind of treasure to go on, then it might be a good idea to start pushing for Meister to make that Meister ring. But otherwise, I think that's something that you can definitely leave until later and until you're like trying to push for 20 or 21. Because we do also have that slime ring from the slime boss coming up soon. And that can, if that can fill the gap and you don't get super unlucky with that, then that could also mean that you can wait even longer for Meister. And if you can totally avoid Meister altogether, then you can keep the materials, move them to another character, and get Meister there if you need to.
Okay.
And then because it's almost like a transferable ring, right? Except you need to craft it on the character. So that's how I see it. But if you're more dedicated to one character, then eventually you will make it. But then it would be better to wait until you can make like 3 or 4, like you said, and then go harder on a big event, especially when you're trying to push for like 20 or 21 stars, and then go from there.
Perfect. And then for my Abso, the new meta is like you stop at 17, right?
Yeah, pretty much, yeah. Some people go to 18, 19, kind of depends on personal preference, but you can definitely stop at 17, good potential, but then you do have to push your CRA further, but you have plenty of backups by that point, so that should be relatively low risk.
Okay, perfect. That's pretty good then. I feel like I have a good grasp now on like what I need to do moving forward. I just really need to work on my Legion. For hyperstats too, actually, now that there's the 2, or like the multiple options, is there anything like you recommend me having just on like my farm? Because I've just been using the 1 for now, because the calculators that I found was not very good. The things that it was saying didn't really seem to make much sense.
Yeah, I think it assumes 100% crit rate, which you have to first put in, and then you have to like kind of go by the points you have left after that. I think I've heard that from a lot of people, but definitely give him that as feedback, right? So he can make sure that that's extra clear, because I've been hearing that quite a bit. Yeah, it's like the general priority, but of course, some stuff falls to the wayside, like ID and boss damage fall completely away. And then typically those get replaced by damage to normal monsters and EXP, basically. You basically just interchange those 2 stats for the other 2, and that'll be your other preset. Because you'll need the same amount of crit rate, you probably want the same amount of critical damage to be able to hit hard, and the same damage percentage applies as well. It's just that ID and boss damage do nothing when you're mobbing, so then EXP and damage to normal monsters can come in. And there's not any kind of major priority between those 2, because in general, there's a very big punishment for going very high on hyperstats, so you typically want to keep them up pretty evenly, so it's pretty much a 1-to-1 transposition of those 2 stats onto those other 2. It can be a situation where you're like, oh, I actually realize I can go lower on Arcane Force because I've leveled since then, so I don't need to go as high. And then it might allow you to cheese like 1 extra point into one of the 2. Maybe you can get them both to 9, or 1 to 10, 1 to 9 or something with the points from Arcane Force and the 15 points you have left over. But it'll be pretty close.
Okay. Yeah, that makes a lot of sense then, because I've just been leveling.
Yeah, in the beginning it makes total sense. You just make like 1 set and you don't really look at it. Yeah. But you're probably getting to the point where the efficiency can be considerable enough to make 2 presets for sure.
Yeah, like the extra few % against mobs might be the difference between me actually just one hitting them and
that could be true.
That little sliver, right?
Yeah, because it's 4% per level. And your boss damage is at 8, so that's 32%, right? So that could be 32% damage to normal monsters. I think that's especially considerable since the reboot passive changed, right? And since it's more final damage now, so damage percentage in a share of your total damage is more considerable now.
Yeah, I'll do that today when I go level to 235.
Yeah, I think that might be enough to be able to hit hard on the Adele, yeah. Well, to one-shot, I guess is what I mean.
Yeah. And then, I just have to keep working on Legion, and I'll be okay, I hope.
Yeah, people tend to get to 235 and focus a little bit more on just the dailies and Legion a little bit, and then, weekly bosses, some daily bosses that they like, and just events, until the Legion gets considerably higher, and then your main character will feel a lot stronger as well. Hopefully the nodes and the symbols are a substantial foundation then that you can start leveling more, go up to 245, maybe Moonbridge. And then start working more on familiars, move more into hard lucid and normal will then, and like by that time your stat will have like doubled. It's mainly just like the star forcing everything up to 15, everything up to 17, and the jump from epic and unique all the way up to legendary, and working on your symbols at the same time is basically that's everything you need to go from like the 14.5 that you're at now to go to for like 28, 29k. Which seems impossible now because it's so far away. But yeah, all those things combined just start really accelerating the speed.
Yeah, which is the thing. It's like literally like a month ago, it was like 4K stat.
Yeah.
Like it's yeah, I could believe you.
Yeah. And 20 and 30.
Nice. You gotta look forward to it. It's just like the progression's like what hypes me up. Just.
Numbers go better, right?
Yeah, that's exactly what I want. I just need the damage skin where I can actually read how much damage I'm doing instead of trying to figure it out. And
yeah, now the numbers are just gone before you can read them. It's like, how much was it? Ah, damn. Sometimes I'll take like a screenshot and like count the numbers and be like, oh, that's how much it was. Okay.
Yeah, my friend would put his phone on slow-mo and then like records a video so he can count it.
Modern problems require modern solutions, I guess.
Well, yeah, because there was the one time I was doing like H moto with like someone before I like could just instantly solo it, and I was doing it and he was doing like 50 mil lines, and I'm like, that's crazy, you're doing so much more damage than me. And then my friend slowed mode my damage, and he's like, yeah, you're doing like 40, but like times 6, and then it's like you're not actually that far off. It just looks like, I'm not.
Yeah. Or yeah, the damage skin, the numbers can look really big, so it looks like they're hitting an extra number, and they're like order of magnitude above you, but they're actually hitting lower. It's like, oh shit, never mind. Like the basic damage skin looks kind of small, so looks almost unimpressive. But I find that if you have a really outlandish damage skin for a while, and then you go back to the basic, I feel like it looks cooler again, because there's that whole, there's like, I don't know, visually I think it's very satisfying to have something that's more controlled and more reserved, rather than something like, look at how big my damage number is. But the unit damage can definitely provide some utility there to be able to see your progress in that as well. And especially once you get stronger, to realize like, wait, I'm supposed to hit way higher. Am I still in drop rate gear? And then you can double check and be like, oh, I should be hitting higher, because you have some kind of benchmark in your head of how high your damage should be.
At.
Mm-hmm.
That makes sense. Yeah, I think the unit ones are kind of the way to go for sure. Especially at like your stages too, where you're like doing like 5-6 million or like billion or whatever. Right?
Yeah,
it's
billions.
Like,
yeah.
You're not looking at the. You're not gonna be able to count that in your head. You'd be like, oh, I'm short of damage right now.
Yeah, it's like, oh no, I'm hitting 50 mil lower. It's like, well, that's like a percentage of a percentage at that point. So those numbers don't really matter anymore. It's like the big ones. It's like, my Abyssal usually hits like 16 bill on like the explosion, and now it's hitting like 7. Like, uh-oh. Something is horribly off. Like either I'm way out of position and there's some damage reduction, or something got unequipped, or I have wrong pieces on. There's something that you need to check out immediately.
Yeah, it makes a big difference.
Yeah, and then later you do BAs, right? Battle analyses to double check to make sure that you're being efficient with your damage dealing. Yeah. Which is...
Yeah, that would...
Yeah,
my friend was showing me like he has like full Mesa's drop gear with potions and stuff, and the amount of money he showed me like in the BA, I'm like, man, that's not even fair. Like, don't even send me this.
Yeah. Yeah, you can make a lot of money. Like if you reroll the inner-ability, you get your full Mesa obtained, and you get the drop rate to make sure the bags are always up, and you start getting that Legion income for Legion and wealth. You can make a lot of money just training properly, as long as your loot rotations right. You make sure you loot every like a minute and 45 seconds, so nothing disappears, and then you always have Storm, and you have Infinity Blade available, so you can always still have some kill speed, and the regular blades floating around you, so you can always have decent kill speed while you're moving around. Get those 3 pets, or at least 2, to be able to loot quickly. Because if you're not rotating as much to loot, which is more efficient, you do need like 2 pets, because 1 pet is just not going to be able to cut it. It's not going to be able to loot everything. You're going to have to go like, a second pass, which is then pretty inefficient again. So usually like 2 pets.
You get so many free pets in this game now, though, that it's like, even I have 3.
Yeah, like 1 main, and you just throw some Hilla pets or some frog pets in there if you
exactly.
go for that content, then you're good. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't have to upkeep the skills on all the other ones and keep rezzing them, and only if you really want to.
No. I just have my 1. And that's basically how I've known how long I've been playing, because that was the one thing that I knew from like old MapleStory, that how much I hated like having to loot by hand. So
it was like even possible then. Now it's just completely impossible to loot manually. You're losing like terrible. 80 plus percent.
The first day, like my snail disappeared, and I was like, okay, what pet am I getting now?
Yeah.
It's like.
Yeah, that's one of the beginner tips I give, is like to keep your snail, use it economically in the beginning,
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, you had to buy Mesomagnet, true, yeah, and the item pouch. Those that didn't even come with a pet, right? The pet was literally just a pet walking around. You had to give it the skills for the Mesomagnet and the item bag for it to even be able to loot things, because it was such a huge investment. But yeah, to basically walk around, don't loot, wait until there's a bunch of stuff on the ground, pick up the snail, loot it all, and then put the snail away again, so you can use it for a while, because of the limited duration. But yeah, now with Terraburn, you get like a 30-day.
I do that now with my link skills.
Yeah, exactly. You learn from that.
Yeah, that way they can buy their own hyper rock or whatever, and not have to.
Yup. Yeah. True. Okay. We're quite a lot over time already. Oops.
Yeah.
My bad.
No, it's okay.
We're up to 2 hours. Yeah. Yeah. You feel like you got everything you wanted?
Yeah. I just clarify the little things that I really need to work on, and
Mm-hmm.
I'll be looking forward to the DMT event. Hopefully, everything goes well. If not, like a 30%, like you were saying, and hopefully I'll be off to the races.
Yep. You got some bossing advice, so you got some practicing to do there.
Yeah, I gotta try that. Though that H-Mag tip and the CZAC should be way easier now too.
Yep. Yeah, and if you're really feeling up for some self-punishment, you can always try to go into CPAP. Yeah, we check out the video first. A lot of people said, yeah, I mean, of course I want people to watch my videos, but like a lot of people said it was very, very helpful to go from like absolutely not knowing what to do to watching the video like once or twice, and then like in 3 practice runs actually getting very far or even being able to kill it. And yeah, the drop rate for the item is just so terrible that the faster you can start clearing, the better your odds are of actually being able to get a pep mark and being able to make that progress.
Yeah, my one friend's like 250 something, and he's been trying for like months, and he still hasn't gotten one. So you should be better start now, right?
Yeah.
Big old time gate.
And for me, it was always very satisfying to learn the boss and to struggle through that part of feeling like there's no way, to knowing that there is actually a way, to like realizing like you can do it, to actually doing it. Like going through that process was always very satisfying for me.
Oh, absolutely. Even like the normal Seer Egg when I first started playing, because like not having any Legion or anything, and it was like my first character, it's like figuring it out, and then it's like now it's like it's a joke, like it's.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's good to see that progress. Yeah. Okay, well, good luck with everything.
Perfect. Thanks a lot for everything.
Yep. You're welcome.
Have a good day and a good stream.
Yes. Well, not a good stream, but have a good day to you as well, and I'll see you around.
All right.
All right.
Thank you very much.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.
Right, cool. There you go. Your totem is done now, chat. Good luck on your totem. How are your gains? Let me know. Almost, yeah. I almost said you too. Then I was like, well, you're not gonna have a good stream, so I'm just gonna say have a good day. Yeah. Whew. I was gonna say you too, but he put the have a good stream after that. So I was like contain myself. Not like the waiter says have a nice meal and then you say you too, because they're not eating. They're just waiting on people. So yeah, hopefully this was informational for some of you guys. Yeah, so if your WSE is significantly lower than this, then that would be a priority for you during a DMT. But since his is, I think it's definitely good enough. Like, I know it's good enough to carry over for a while. I would focus more on the huge amount of gains that can be made on the Abzo stuff. And again, if there's a DMT coming and you're in this situation, but there's also 30% off coming, that might be more important. It all comes down to how much money you make, right? So go into the calculators, check them out. Links are in the description of the Twitch chat. !cubing, !Starforce, !flaming. Look at those calculators. Look at what is the next goal? How much is that going to cost you? Look at how much money you're making in a week, in a month, and see what seems reasonable, right? If you have to choose, go for whichever has the biggest discount or the biggest sale soon. If you don't have to choose, go for everything, right? And if you're unsure, you can always come into the chat, ask around. There's some people in the chat who are very, very educated at this point. They've heard me explain it to like 300 people, thousands of people at this point. So they know what I would say as well. And if you're unsure, you can always add me in the chat. Make sure that I see the message. I'll be drawing the winners for November right after this stream. So all the people who commented on the November videos, not congratulations, but good luck to you guys. And if you guys want to be potentially part of the December winners, make sure you leave a comment. I guess there might be some overlap because I haven't drawn the November winners yet, so I'll make sure that the people who win in November don't get drawn to win again in December, I guess. Well, I guess technically they could still win because we could be a month apart, but we'll see. But yeah, if you want one of these sessions for free, make sure you leave a comment saying that you would like to win. If you want one of the paid sessions because you don't want to wait that long, make sure you check the description for the information. There's also information there if you want to join my guild in NA Reboot, and if you would like to submit data, which hasn't been super popular, so would really be very helpful if you could submit data in forms of battle analysis, monster skill per hour, or training videos. Would be very helpful to me in higher level areas. Just short recording of like a rotation of the map or a rotation of your skills will be really helpful. Other than that, I thank you guys for watching. I'll see you over on Twitch chat where I stream and Twitch, where I stream every day. I don't know where it is. This side, that side. It's in another tab. And I'll see you guys there. Or on the next one.